Hey, I'm back, and sorry if this is the only way you're watching or consuming the epilogues and you feel like you're behind your friends now because it's the next day that I'm recording this. But I did have a great evening with my friend who is only in town every once in a while, and it's probably good that I wasn't putting all this out because there was the charity live stream that OD and Kate were doing. They raised like $5,000 for the Trans Law Center, marathoning it overnight. That was holy shit. It's really something. I probably directed more people to that if I have not finished reading. God knows, but I'm back now, um, and I've got some macaroni and some honey garlic chicken, which is actually the wrong thing to be eating for the candy route, but I kind of need to eat this first. It's sort of like the big meal. So, I'm not going to start eating candy and then eat this. It's hot food. I can't, you know. I was really happy reading all the YouTube comments, by the way. I didn't know so many people would find this valuable, and that made me real happy to see. Um, I guess I'll start eating and maybe I got this. This is like Costco macaroni here. Yeah. I don't know what's up with the Costco macaroni and the Costco hot dog, but when you're living in white suburbia, your mom shops at Costco, and I'll be out of here in a year. See, but I'll try the chicken here. See how hot it is. All right, that's good. I really hope there is no issue with like me eating in front of the microphone. I don't think it's very excessive how I'm doing it, but it could be a problem. All right. Yeah, let's start on this. I should mention the advice of my friend Austin and of my friend Wyatt. Austin, who said the best order to read the epilogues is go all the way through one and then all the way through the next, or the other one. And Wyatt, who said the best way to do it is, quote, machete order, which would be, in terms of my videos, the first two parts of meat, then all of candy, then the rest of meat. I couldn't tell you where that comes from just yet. I don't know. But you want to take either of their advice, go ahead. I'm going to be putting these out in alternating order just for people who start on one or the other to sort of treat them equally here. And hopefully there shouldn't be too much delay that I'll have the whole thing recorded. But boy, it's long if Charity Stream was doing it overnight. That's really some shit. So I'm here with the candy 11 through 20 then. And I will finally start. I really gotta get myself in the headspace here. Boy, I hoped you skipped some of that. Alright. Dave grabs the sleeve of John's tux in his sweaty palm, and the two of them fly to the top of the nearest tower. John glances at him en route, and the look on Dave's face strikes him as that of a man condemned to death. The stars stand out along the skyline, so bright in this new world that the outline of every constellation is crisp and clear, even in the middle of the city. Dave cups his hands over his knees and stares straight ahead. Yo, John, what do you think about me and Carcat? You two are pretty cute together, I guess. Together. I need you to be way more specific here. Oh, okay. I guess I'd have to say that you're both cute individually when you're with each other, and you make cute friends, which is why you're cute together. Something about it just works. I feel like I'm saying cute a lot here. For the record, I don't mean you're cute as an individual, no offense. Alone, you're just Dave. But together, yeah, you guys are cute. Together, you mean like a couple? Dave says this so neutrally that John has no idea how to read it, despite having years of practice reading Dave's many neutral tones. Yes, that's exactly what I mean. Why? Didn't I just explain it? Good friends make good partners. You're similar in all the right ways and different in all the even more right ways. You two balance each other out and keep each other from going off the rails like when you were kids. Huh. You were both kind of crazy when we were kids? Again, no offense. That's not what I was saying about. Oh. I was saying because that sure was a coherent Egbertian thesis on the state of the Dave Cat situation. Well, I've thought about it that way for a long time. I think it's what everyone else thinks, too. I don't know. If I'd been thinking about it that way, I wouldn't be in the mess I'm in right now. You're in a mess? Yeah, there's a metric fucking ton of shit about to come down on me because I drag my heels on some serious self-reflection. Is this just some more stuff about being gay? Maybe, yeah, okay, definitely, yeah. It's 110% about being gay. I thought you'd already worked all that stuff out? It turns out it takes a long time to figure out your sexuality after a childhood filled with repression and abuse. Boy, I hope my computer fan doesn't pick up on the mic. I was really just sparking up there. It's good now. Dave. I mean, yeah, I woke the hell up to my inner potential for gayness in a big way, but then I just kind of pressed the snooze button and rolled back over because we kind of had to fight all those jacks and also create society. Holy fucking shit. There's a gay snooze button? Yeah, man, there's a gay snooze button. Wow. When I was having my gay cool boy awakening, it wasn't a full no homo, but it was at least a quarter no homo. If I hadn't done that then, instead of talking to you about this, I'd be at home right now, kissing Carcat, probably. I don't get this, Dave. Am I your gay confessor or something? You don't need my blessing to go kiss Carcat. In fact, I was pretty sure you already were kissing Carcat. Nope. In that case, as the Lord Pope of Dave's fully awakened gaydom, I give you my blessing to immediately leave and rectify that soon as possible. Go now, my child, and kiss Carcat right on the lips. Okay, as much as I appreciate how weird a thing that was to say, it's not that simple. I might not exactly be the expert, but kissing seems pretty easy, Dave. I'm sure it gets more complicated in the later stages, obviously, but I think you can figure out how to get your lips on his without much trouble. No, I mean, like, Dave makes a couple truly useless hand gestures. In the greater fabric of our weird incestuous social group, it might be the wrong move, I think. How so? Because... Jade. John bites his lip. Oh boy, that's a complicated problem, all right. He loves his sister, but she's developed a bad habit of sometimes approaching delicate situations. I keep skipping words. She's developed a bad habit of sometimes approaching delicate social situations with all the grace of an elephant stumbling around in a dark room. Right. I almost managed to forget that she was trying to fuck you and Carcat. Dave snaps his head around to stare at John in shock. Wait, you knew about that? Yeah. Did you not? Of course I knew about it. I was looking at the whole thing through several complicated layers of conscious denial, but I knew. It's just that you, never leave your house. Well, it probably helps that Jay literally said the words to me, and I might be paraphrasing here, but, hey, John, I'm gonna fuck Dave and Carcat. What the fuck? She said that to you? What did you say? I don't know. It was a while ago. Probably that it was a bad idea, but I thought it was kind of obvious. She's always had a crush on you, Dave. Yeah, I know. He sighs and hangs his head, leaning forward with his elbows crossed over his thighs. The angle he's at gives John a good look at his eyes, which are boring a deep, miserable hole to the center of the earth right now. That's why I think I should give it a try, I guess. Give what a try? Dating Jade? Yeah, and Carcat. Oh man, Dave, I don't know. That sounds like it could really blow up on your face. Yeah, that's kind of why I'm freaking out right now, if you didn't notice. Sorry, dude, it's just... Do you even like Jade? Of course I do. She's one of my best friends. No, I meant... Do you like her? Oh my god, John, you're 23 years old. Can you at least pretend to talk like a grown man? Okay, Dave, God, are you in love with Jade? Dave doesn't answer. His silence says a lot, John thinks. Are you in love with Carcat? That's a big fucking question. That's the biggest fucking question that ever got asked. It's the Paleolithic megafauna of... megafauna of questions. It's like so familiar, but your eyes just glaze over it in denial because it's too fucking big. Why did megalodon sharks need to have such big jaws, John? Teach smaller sharks? I've never been so terrified by a question my fucking entire life. Seriously, my heart is pounding so hard right now, I feel like I'm gonna hurl. Well, doesn't that answer the question? No, because it's not like I feel nothing for Jade. In fact, I feel a whole lot of things for her. Too many to just tell her off after all this time. I mean, she spent all those years alone on the ship, and I know she missed me, and then Dave Sprite died or turned into fucking Dave Peta. I was never clear on exactly what happened there. And God knows he didn't make any attempt to clear the fucking air with her. But when I think about it, neither did I. So maybe I'm just a huge asshole who's been leading her on for like a whole goddamn decade at this point. And if I have been, don't I owe it to her to at least try? If that's your logic, Dave, then haven't you been leading on Karkat too? Doesn't he deserve the same chance? I mean, if you think that's the kind of decision you lay on another person like this, why don't you just flip a coin? He tilts his face so that he can give John a look. The corner of his lip quirks ambiguously. Have you been talking to Terezi? Damn, I thought she ghosted everyone. Not me, I guess? Anyway, I know that sounded like a totally cool thing to say, but I don't think you really grasped the full metaphysical implications of whatever you're quoting there. Dave sits up and leans back on his palms, his voice sounding lighter in a subtle, almost ephemeral way now that the subject's changed to something as easy as metaphysics. He catches John's gaze and makes a rolling gesture with his hand, miming the way a practiced magician would flick a coin over their thumb. Do you know what a coin flip is? Like, universally, I mean, in the grand scale of all this time, space infinite string theory bullshit we're always dealing with. Of course. It's like when you know you've already made a decision you're reluctant about, and then you need an outside force to show you how you really feel. No, dude, that's dumb. You should know this, because you've done the retcon thing. What does that have to do with flipping coins? Okay, so every time you flip a coin, you're creating an alternate universe timeline, right? One where it lands heads and one where it lands tails. But while the coin is flipping, both possibilities exist simultaneously. What if you knew for sure you'd make the same decision no matter what side landed up? You can't. So, it's like the coin never lands then? Sure. Then if you dated both Jade and Karkat, it's like you're winning the Schrodinger's cat paradox. Yeah, that's another theoretical paradox that I think you gotta read up a bit more on there, buddy. I probably won't, but okay. Fair enough. But yes, metaphysics aside, me dating both Jade and Karkat at the same time literally is the issue at hand, and it is that with which I currently and explicitly struggle. Yeah, sure seems that way. So, I don't know, Dave. It just doesn't sound right to me. John thinks about the speech Rose gave him that morning on the couch, about canon veracity and the validity of non-validity of subjective actions the further they get away from the intended sequence of events. Something about pillars? Which is essential, true, and relevant. Oh, what is essential, true, and relevant? He remembers those three words, but no other contextual remarks which bind them. That conversation seems so very long ago now. I mean, it doesn't sound canon. Not you two. Rose is always going on about canon. I don't give a fuck about canon. What do you give a fuck about? Dave sighs and runs a hand through his hair. Doing the right thing, I guess. This doesn't seem hard to me at all, Dave. Go home right now and tell Karkat how you feel. Look, I can't. If I did that, it would be like what, Dave? Like, you would be really happy and Karkat would also be really happy? I'm not explaining myself right. I need to... Dave staggers uneasily to his feet, staring way past John like he's looking into the infinity of his own soul right now. John's never seen him so scared, and it's over what seems like a pretty easy choice as far as John's concerned. It sure isn't easy for him, though. John guesses this is what it means to be a friend. It means being the guy who understands when easy isn't actually that easy. I have to talk to Dirk, I think. Okay. John wonders when talking to Dirk has fixed anything for anyone. He's about to ask what exactly it is he needs to talk to Dirk about, but he then remembers what he saw when he went back to fetch Gamzee's fridge in the medium, Dirk and Dave hugging on the edge of the roof, sharing something private and mysterious, the sort of thing that can only happen between two people whose personalities are cracked in the same way. It's not something John's ever had, so it's not something he can understand. An unfathomable silence lingers between the two of them. Before John can fill it with some stupid words, he hears Roxy calling up to him from below. He pops his head over the roof and waves at her. What's up? Yo, boys, not to interrupt, but we got kicked out of the restaurant for not ordering. What? Really? What's the point of even being famous if that can happen? Wow, I know, right? I told you I wasn't classy enough for the joint, but I got all these breadsticks, though, so we can reconvene in the park. Totes romantic. 10 minutes, what do you say? Sounds good. I'll see you there soon. She grins up at John with shimmering, adoring eyes. They're reflecting every star in the sky, all for him. It makes his heart do a weird somersault. It tries to flip frontways, then backwards, and ends up landing on its face instead. He's feeling too many contradictory things right now. When he turns to look at Dave again, he's practically translucent. Barely there, half out the door emotionally. John looks like he could have done more, like this whole conversation was sand running through his fingers. It itches at the back of his head, the idea that he might have just fucked up Dave's entire life. I'm sorry I couldn't help. Nah, dude, it's not your fault. Dave gives him a light bro punch in the arm and tries to smile. Enjoy your date. I'm enjoying my macaroni. Yeah, boy. If you missed this the last time, you can hit L to skip 10 seconds into a YouTube video. Or double tap on the right side of the screen in mobile. Hey, cool. Jake wakes up to the unfamiliar feeling of a cheek on his chest and a thigh slung over his stomach. Not that waking up to limbs entwined with some fleeting dalliance was an unfamiliar sensation by any means, but this time something seems off. He's afraid to open his eyes, because he can't remember the last few days. The very last thing he does remember, if any of his recollections are to be trusted, is corking open a bottle alchemized Merlot at 9 in the morning, as one does, then doing a brisk session of target practice, which was interrupted by... oh, fuck. Jake's eyes snap open. His ceiling looks the same as it always does, if a bit tizzy, with the eye-splitting headache sending nails of pain through his skull. The gold-flecked flowers carved into his wood-paneled ceiling glitter in the morning light. Jake stares very hard at them, because he doesn't want to look down and confirm his worst fears. But his worst fears are confirmed for him without him having to do anything. Unfortunately, which seems par for the course. Good morning. Jane sits up in bed and stretches her arms over her head. Her body's a perfect hourglass in naked profile. Jake's eyes trace the curve of her spine against his will. They linger in the dip above her hips. Her hair's tousled and she's not wearing her glasses. Jake actually has to catch his breath at the sight of her. It's not her attractiveness that was ever in question. It's everything else about this situation which is the problem. Jane, what in the blazes happened? She turns to face him, giggling into her hand. God, my Jane and Jake voice are way too similar. Why, Jake, I'd imagine that you've practiced enough at sexual congress at this point that I shouldn't have to explain it to you. Jane, I am quite aware of my reputation, but I'm not some loose strumpet who enters into relations thoughtlessly. Oh, lighten up. Jane blinks and touches a hand to her collarbone like she doesn't quite recognize herself. Oh dear, did you hear what I just said? Lighten up? It's been quite a while since I've thought that way. My, it feels freeing to say. Lighten up, Jake. The election's off. The economy is stable. Dirk is probably never going to talk to us ever again, and we can just... finally fucked. Ooh. Did we indeed fuck? Was it merely playing honky-tonky with our digits, or did we do the old... Gamahoochie? I fucking hate this dialogue. Oh my god. Also this situation? Possibly. But this dialogue, what the fuck? Or even worse, the beard splitting. So I don't even know what any of that means, Jake, but we definitely did it all. She crawls towards him with a goofy smile, padding along unsteadily because she can't see shit without her spectacles. Jake shoots up in the bed and scuttles all the way back until his shoulders hit the frame. Something catches the corner of his eye and he swivels his head around to see the trickster lollipop beside the table. It sits like evidence at a murder scene beneath the empty bottle of vodka and far more sets of underwear than the number of people accounted for in the room. Jake says, but Jane shuts him up with a finger over his lips. She slides into his lap and settles her bottom into the space between his thighs. There's a blanket between the lurid parts of their naked bodies, but Jake cannot rightly move unless he wishes to be dearly compromised. He stutters through several objections, but Jane is plucking all his strings quite mercilessly. He feels like a snake about to be necked by a mongoose. What is the meaning of this lollipop? I thought we agreed to never use trickster mode when we were, unsupervised. What? The lollipop was your idea. I must protest, Jane. That does not seem like something I would agree to in a right state of mind. Well, I'm not sure either of us were exactly in the right state of mind, to be honest. We, had quite a bit to drink over the course of the day, and one thing led to another. Led to partaking in scandalous confections? I don't know what to tell you, Jake. I'm not pulling your leg. In fact, you were the one doing the vigorous leg pulling last night. Criminy! This is so actually serious, but both of their fucking speaking styles are stupid as fuck that I can't take it seriously. Jane's expression fails. She's been feeling quite buoyed after a night of jolly, if inebriated fun, but Jake does not seem to share her enthusiasm. Dear me, was that innuendo a bit much? I'm sorry, I'm not very good at this. No, it's not that, Jane, all of this feels wrong. Now, I don't want you to get the wrong idea here. You're a dear friend and I care for you deeply, but I think that what happened between us might have merely been the result of profound inebriation. Jake regrets the statement as soon as the words leave his mouth. Jane looks absolutely crushed, devastated, like Jake just ripped the rug out from underneath her entire universe. What? Are you saying everything we did, it meant nothing to you? That isn't what I meant, Jane, I simply... Jane stares up at him, her eyes so bright they're practically clear like tropical water on a sunny day. She looks like girls do right before they're about to cry. Jake, oh, how could he deny her anything? Was I even saying I'm being terribly foolish? Sure, we may have overdone it a bit on the substance, perhaps, but you know what? To hell with it. I may not remember everything that happened last night, but I'm sure my passions wouldn't lead me astray. You've always been a lovely girl, Jane, and you've become an even lovelier woman. It's a surprise that it didn't happen sooner. May as well just go with it? It's not the most rousing speech Jake has ever given, but it seems satisfactory enough for Jane. He releases a tremendously relieved sigh when Jane breaks into a smile. Oh, Jake. He flails when she kisses him, but this time there's no doubt he hasn't said no. There's a little bit of stuff on my screen and I can't really get it off. Son of a bitch. It's good enough. Dave and Dirk don't talk all that much about the heavy stuff. They don't need to. Dave can hear his brother's voice in his head. Not like literally, that would be insane. But Dave knows what his bro is like. Dirk, or a version of him, instilled in Dave a way of living and thinking that, for better or worse, persists far beyond these first 13 years of his upbringing. And even on Earth-C, it'd be kinda tough to say the dude's general overbearing demeanor wasn't sufficient enough to perpetuate the conditioning. So it's rare he has to guess what Dirk would say he should do. But when it comes to the boondoggle involved with triangulating his interpersonal relationships with Jade and Karkat, Dave is shooting blanks. He has no idea what to do, no idea what to say, and for once, the ghost in his head doesn't either. Once he might have separated the end of the haunting to come as a relief, but now that he sits and finally sits quietly in his own mind, with nothing but his meager faculties to guide his hand, the silence is deafening. There's no time to waste, so he flies directly to his bro's studio. He needs this. He needs his bro to tell him what to do. Whatever issues the guy might have, Dave has always been able to count on Dirk to give him, as Jake might say, the solid dick. Dave knocks on the door loud, but there's no answer. Nothing when he calls out Dirk's name either. Then he tries the knob, and the door swings right open. Hey, bro, are you there? Still no answer. Dave lets himself in. It's not like his bro would actually mind. They're family after all. Bro, hey. Silence throughout the studio. Dave starts flitting from room to room, checking for any signs of Dirk. This is strange. The guy usually doesn't go out and do things unless those things are actively being televised. Dude, are you gone? Like, I have something I really need to talk to you about. Dave all but jumps out of his skin with a shriek when he turns to find the last individual he would have ever expected or wanted to see. Hawk. Jesus, fuck. Hey, what's shaking, my man? Gamzee, what the fuck? God, I think I shit my pants. I'm sorry to hear that, my fine brother. Gamzee, what the fuck are you doing here? Did you follow me here? No, man. I've been waiting for you, Hawk. Oh, that's so much better. Why the fuck are you doing that? 'Cause I'm here to bring you the good news. The news of what? The news of me, motherfucker. I'm here to help you get all up and redeemed for your wicked sins. Put a real arc to salvation. Oh my god, what fucking sins. Where's Dirk? There's no need to worry about him. You're gonna get what's best for you. He told me that, and I'm sure I'm gonna make sure his wish makes like a motherfucking miracle and gets true. Ugh. Did I just walk into a horror movie? Did my bro get fucking axe murdered by a clown? Jesus Christ. Don't tell me his body's down in the basement right now. You don't got any need to go and concern yourself with his mortal flesh body out there in candy cane whirlpool beyond the infinite black wink of the wicked singularity, my ninja. A sack of meat and bones in one life or the next is only means to the final totality that'll damn and raise us all in the brilliant apotheosis. In the one true life we all follow from the one true pen, and every head rolls down the path to the one true hand. What the fuck did any of that just mean? Are you drunk? Never mind, I don't give a shit. Out of my way, Pagliacci. Dave has had enough of this buffoon. He pushes Gamzee aside, and the clown goes absolutely flying into one of Dirk's messy workbenches. The vagrant gesture ricochets off disorganized piles of scrap metal and anime paraphernalia like a Tony Hawk jackass clipping and flopping into unending oblivion of pain. The circus ruckus starts a vicious Rube Goldberg machine of cartoon physics, knocking over every cinder block, crusty puppet, and Japanese sword in a tornado's radius off balance and avalanching them catastrophically onto the hapless clown's torso. Dave only gives a second glance to the ludicrous pandemonium. He blows open the door to the stairwell and heads down, bracing himself for the worst. But he doesn't find Dirk in the basement either. The only thing of note is a slumped figure in the center of the storage room, covered in a thin sheet. Dave approaches it and rips it off to discover, wait, what is this? It's a robot, but it's a complete mess. The form is feminine, but the head is still bald, and the face has no cover, revealing its skull-like interior. The body doesn't have any proper protective plating yet, so it's all a mess of wires and loose mechanical bits. Clearly a work in progress, but Dave can't help but wonder what exactly it is that Dirk's been working on here. Then Dave notices the note. It's carefully folded in the limp palm of the robot's hand. His heart jumps into his throat, and something in his stomach drops. Oh no. Why does it say Epilogue 3 up there? I don't know. I'm guessing these are like the actual part divisions that this shit is supposed to have, but like, you know. Get a little food in here. Sorry. I really do have like a full plate of food, and I gotta take several breaks to. You know how to skip. I'm not gonna say anything interesting this time. Don't worry. The meat's getting cold. I should put this back in the fridge. I'm not gonna drink it yet. Here, I think I'm like halfway through that plate of food. Oh shit, I'm so sorry. Terrible. Okay. Your name is Dirk Strider, and you know what you must do. The decision was made the moment John chose his course. The world has been set on a path that you cannot tread. You stand beneath the Carpathian bell tower, poised to climb to the top. You've brought nothing with you but a long length of rope coiled in your steady fist. It is the only thing that you need. Ascend. You do not hesitate. Your legs feel impressively powerful as you begin to climb the staircase, 2 steps at a time. There's nothing of consequence but your singular task. You left a note, but you don't expect any of your friends to understand. It's not important that they do. A flip of the cosmic coin has rendered your life completely inessential. What could you accomplish in a dead-end existence like this? There are no stakes, no meaningful challenges, no structures or themes, only residual chemical reactions in a dying brain, a physical system's obligate compulsion to exhaust its own lingering momentum. A cockroach with its head cut off, waiting to die of thirst. Halfway up to the tower, you take flight. Every second you waste here is a drain on the concept of existence itself. You whip up the hollow vertical shaft at the center of the spiraling stairs and erupt into the air beneath the bell. You land on the ledge overlooking the Carapace kingdom below and cast a cursory glance across the landscape beneath you. Its beautiful scenery is a comical illusion of no matter to you. Get to work. Your hands move methodically to fashion the hangman's noose. It is a gesture you've practiced well. You bunch a section of the rope into the S and loop the end of the rope around its middle. 7 wraps and you're done. You tie it off at the bottom, then tug the rope taut. The corrosion's already begun. You can feel the gears slowing, all the intricate unseen mechanisms coming unhinged from their mooring and drifting apart. Your friends might derive some sense of fulfillment from satisfying the elementary obligations of self-preservation and self-propagation, but there's nothing here for you. It doesn't matter anymore. My dog's barking. There's a beam across the opening face of the bell tower that'll serve as a convenient anchor for the rope. You toss the noose up over the beam and then rise to fasten the knot. You ensure that it is secure. There can be no mistakes. You touch back down on the ledge of the tower. You bring the noose over your head and pull it tight. Your choice is not that between that of life and death. It is between an ignominious dissolution at the hands of entropy and one final act of relevance that can bequeath your meager energies to the cosmic well from whence they came. In a certain sense, you've never felt so free. Kill yourself. You jump. A meaningful death would of course be quick, brutal, an expeditious descent, a splash of crimson at the base of the bell tower, a body that looks otherwise intact if you don't flip it over to see the dark, mottled bruises where the fetid, septic blood has began to pool. You made certain the rope was long enough for the velocity of your fall to immediately decapitate you. It slices through the air with a vicious whipping sound, unspooling in even silk-smooth rotations. Just as your epiphany occurred at sunset, your death must occur at sunrise to complete the Ouroboros of symbological, harmonic resonance that is your personal arc. It is the very last moment of narratively consequential action that will happen in this whole barren world. The few Carapacians unfortunate enough to have left their homes this early in the morning will remember this moment forever, but in reality, it only lasts half a second. The noise your cervical spine makes when it sunders is indescribably gruesome. Many of the bystanders who witness your death will later attempt to recount it, but there are really no words that can adequately express the sound someone makes when they die. It's a phenomenon that happens on 2 levels. First, there's the termination, literal termination of organic processes, which is to say, the destruction of the meat. Then follows the dissolution of the ego, and you have quite the ego to dissolve, one that has flown so high above the forest that not only can it no longer see the trees, it cannot even conceive of the trees as a material substance with an objective meaning. Yours is a singularity of narcissism, an endlessly recursive existence so dense it has no choice but to sprawl out much further than the boundaries of its person in any given universe or timeline. Once cut off from that, you become unbearably dispensable. From a purely utilitarian perspective, killing yourself is the greatest gift you could give to this dying world, a valorous sacrifice the likes of which this place will never experience again. If your severed head could speak, it might say, "You're welcome," but even then, it wouldn't. It might not care enough to do this shallow realm even that basic courtesy. We may never know. Your severed head remains suspended in the loop of the noose, tight under your jaw, while your limp body bounces off the side of the bell tower and tumbles to the grass. Screams sound from below. The horrified Carapacian bystanders scatter and run. Your body tumbles down the side of the hill, spraying blood from its neck in a volume that makes the foot of the tower look like the scene of a massacre. Your heart keeps beating, well after you're dead. It keeps beating until every drop of blood is forced from your corpse, a sea of gore drenching the earth beneath the scene of your demise. Your body doesn't get up, and your head doesn't open its eyes. When you think so little of yourself as a moral character, any act of self-termination will result in a death that is just. Right, so about that. Fuck, alright. The rain is coming down in sheets. It rains just seldom on this idyllic world that most of its inhabitants are conditioned to leave their homes without umbrellas, and today they're paying for it. The press clamors at the edges of the funeral procession, getting soaked to the bone and or exoskeleton. John ducks his head away from the flash of the cameras, still uncomfortable with his position among the pallbearers. He didn't know Dirk that well, but he couldn't refuse a direct request from a grieving bro. He ventures a glance at Dave, who is at the front line carrying a smaller casket containing Dirk's decapitated head. The actual casket is unusually heavy, not just because Jane insisted on having it crafted from the finest quality timber on the planet, but because also, for some unfathomable reason, Dirk is going to be buried with every single one of his shitty anime swords. It would be absurd were it not so tragic, but also possibly predictable. Gamzee fumbles with the corner of the casket when it comes time to set it down in the cathedral and upsets the balance of the whole thing, and sends it careening down so hard that the nose of it crashes right through the stage. Oops, motherfuckers. Oops. It's fine, Gam. Accidents happen. John presses his mouth into a flat line. He looks at Dirk's casket sitting diagonally in a hole in the floor, popped about 13% of the way open. A few shitty swords seem to have made a valiant effort to escape, but didn't make it all the way. He looks at Dave, who appears even more stoic than usual, with his wet hair plastered to his forehead. He looks at Roxy, who's staring at the floor, rather beside herself in grief. Then, finally, he looks back to Gamzee, who offers 2 dubiously sympathetic whoops in response. Today is not the day to push it, he thinks to himself. He forces a smile, kisses Roxy on the cheek, and goes to take a seat in the front row of the pews. At the back of the nave, devastated fans of Rumble into Pumpkin Patch are trying to force their way inside, past the barrier of reporters. Jane drags Jake off by the wrist to deal with them as Roxy approaches the pulpit, looking miserably ghost-like in her violet mourning clothes. Mourning clothes. With the U, mourning, like grieving. Hey, thanks everyone for joining me today. She folds her hands in front of her. Her earrings light up as the reporters at the back take about 6 million pictures of her tear-stained face. She sniffs, then hawks back a whole mouthful of snot. The sound is very much in contrast with the delicate feminine manner which she tugs a tissue out of her modest cleavage in order to dab at her eyes. Wow, now that I'm up here, it's like, I don't know. I have no idea what to say. Of course she doesn't. Dirk was her first BFF, her first love, and at one time the only other human being left on Earth. She rolls the wet tissue between her fingers. And I guess that's because there is nothing to say. There's no words to describe how I felt about Dirk Strider. And even though he left a note that had hello words in it, they might as well have been saying nothing. Which is just like Dirk, I guess, to leave us with a load of bullshit and no idea why he did what he did. So I'm just gonna say that I'm glad he was in my life, and give it over to someone who's way more eloquent than me. Dave gets to his feet, unwinding his fingers from Jade's. He walks to the pulpit with his usual smoothness, but pauses beneath the giant stained glass window to run the heel of his palm under his shades. The camera bulbs start clacking away like crazy. John rolls around in his seat to glare at the reporters, putting a finger in his mouth to shoosh them. He watches a tiny white carapace chess guy sheepishly press the flash button on his camera as quietly as possible. It takes Dave a moment to gather himself when he reaches the lectern, but when he speaks, his voice is steady and even. Hey guys, I want to apologize in advance because this is about to get a little real. Realer than that 3/4 of a corpse I'm standing 2 feet from right now. I mean, totally hate to ruin everyone's mood on a day we've gathered to think deep thoughts about how one of us just went and fucking off themselves. Not like we're going to be stumbling through our lives constantly experiencing intrusive thoughts about this specific event or anything. Hey, remember what our good pal Dirk looked like with no head? Pretty hard to forget, since being decapitated was like his 3rd favorite hobby. So, it's not so much the body that's the problem, but sort of the existential realization of finality, I guess. Though, I ain't gonna lie, the body's starting to stink. Sorry all that shit I said was a load of absolute bull meant to deflect from the fact that I'm pretty shook about this. I used to do that a whole lot. Like, basically every time I open my mouth. Most of you know this, but I kind of had a shitty childhood. I'm not going to go into details, but long story short, it was technically my good old bro dad here's fault. Not this specific version of him. The one I grew up with was he was... Dave hesitates. His voice might be cracking, but it's subtle. He was just an absolute bastard. No offense to the dead. Oh, yeah, okay, sure. He taught me a ton of shit that, if we're being generous, was in theory useful, but he didn't give a single solitary shit about raising a well-adjusted kid, or raising a kid in general. I was more like his disciple. All that mattered was I was his grand designer, what the fuck ever. I know Dirk struggled with, the idea that he could eventually become that kind of person, or even worse, that he was somehow cosmically fated to become that kind of person, no matter what he wanted or did to prevent it. That's probably how he managed to off himself in the first place, considering how the mechanics of God tier works. Maybe he'd been struggling with that the whole time, and we've just been here on Earth C. Who knows with him? He was always so inside his own head, I can't even imagine what insane train of thought led him to decide that this was his only option. But I don't think he'd want us beating ourselves up about it, or torturing ourselves trying to figure out what it fucking meant. Especially Jake, Jane, and Roxy. He loved you guys and wouldn't do anything to hurt you. Well, not intentionally, I mean. Anyway, all that shit about my bro, I'm over that. Like, as much as you can get over it. There's a subconscious response to certain stimuli you can't exactly rewire, but the conscious part of my brain's all like, shit, dude, I feel great. What the fuck is hypervigilance? I love being alive and having all these friends who care about me and don't beat the shit out of me every day of my life, etc. And that's the part I get to... And part of that's because I got to be friends with Dirk. It was great getting to know this rad version of my childhood guardian who wasn't completely batshit insane. Just, chill with him. Shoot the shit and freestyle or debate dumb crap without it being a federal fucking issue. And more than that, he treated me like I was on level with him. He let me give him shit for being a pretentious blowhard every day of his life, which I did. But despite that, I looked up to him. The way I always felt like I should be looking up to my bro. The way I wanted to look up to my bro but couldn't. Dirk taught me so much shit I didn't know I needed from him. I mean, picking up Dirk's opinions was unavoidable if you ever hung out with him, considering he never shut his fucking mouth, but I'm glad he didn't. He taught me about combat, philosophy, life, and I'm sure had he not killed himself the literal day I was going to finally ask him romantic advice, he would have taught me about love too. So, in the end, I really got no idea how the fuck I'm supposed to feel right now. That's probably okay, right? It's okay to not know how to feel when someone dies. It's okay to not have all the answers. I wish Dirk were still alive so I could tell him that, but he's not. So, Dave takes a deep, shuddering breath and actually takes off his shades to wipe away the tears that are pooling on his eyelashes. I guess that's all I have to say about that. Jake is openly weeping by the time this speech is over, his face buried in Jane's breasts. She's remarkably composed, looking more irritated than anything that her gentleman companion's getting snot all over her attractively tailored power suit. Dave leaves the stage, face turned away from the glare of the camera lights, and Roxy takes her place at the pulpit once again. Anyone else have a eulogy they'd like to give? I think the best way we can honor Dirk's memory at this point is to spew an untold number of words into the void, as many as we fucking can. Rose, who'd been staring off to space with a peculiar expression on her face during Dave's speech, snaps to attention. She brushes Kanaya's hand off her lap and goes to stand, but is interrupted by the horrible squelching sound of Gamzee lumbering to his feet in wet, oversized boots. He saunters up to the pulpit with the precise, lazy gait of someone who's grown far too comfortable, with a lifelong tendency of unwittingly inspiring others' contempt, and braces his arms on either side of the lectern. If inside this church there were an adjacent room full of wet dogs eating garbage, everyone in attendance would run to that room and immediately escape the stench emanating from this smiling clown. Suddenly, his expression distorts, to become something that can only be described as a leer. "What's up on this most righteous and frowny of days, my bitches? Oh my God! No one wants to hear anything you have to say, Gamzee." You still got it, my brother. My brother of comedy is in the prey block. That mirthful noise you holler still slaps my mang. It's not a fucking joke. Gamzee clears his throat quite loudly and abruptly, sending ear-shattering echoes throughout the church. It just sounds like someone threw a toilet in the wood chipper. That's a lot of Gamzee to read. "Ninjas and genohos. We gather up at this shrine of worship to whatever false idols or messiahs these homies get their devotion on for. But that's okay, because we're motherfucking unified today. No matter what our bad and different beliefs say at us to our piety pans, we come in celebration of the life and death of the one and only, a truly choice piece of man bitch whom I hardly ever knew, Dirkster. Boo! Then you might be up and wondering, what place have I got all orating on the subject of the legend of this fine fellow? That's a good question, my mirthful brothers. I may not be all up and learned about his life, but I've got deep spiritual connection to his death. It just so happened that fate brought me to his doorstep on the very day that he went and motherfucking choked it off the neck. One of the most spiritually awakening moments of my life. In such a short time, he taught me so much. This was no coincidence. It was a higher power guiding my path. These powers made sure that I would be there to receive a great warrior's final message and relay it on to you in this dark, dreary day of death. Honk! The clown thrusts his hand somewhere beneath the waistband of his pants and starts obscenely rooting around. He retrieves a piece of paper crumpled and soaked from the rain outside and attempts to smooth it out over the lectern. The wet paper breaks apart immediately beneath his oafish clown paws. Ah, shiz. I guess I've got to up and wing it. Dirk's close friends in the audience look on with anxious anticipation, eager to hear whatever important message Dirk had apparently handed down to Gamzee to be passed on. John can't seem to find that optimism in himself. Gamzee draws a big fat breath and begins his speech. You ever wake up and sit down to drop a fat one in the load gaper, but your fresh flesh body just ain't ready to go and duke it out yet? The clown's words hang heavily in the air. He scans the crowd, silent for an uncomfortable while, as if his question weren't rhetorical and he were expecting an answer that will never come. That's what life was like for the D-Man. A man born with purpose, a plan. But the wicked ways of this world stole that away from him. It goes on like this for some time. Members of the audience ride out the clown's eulogy with an admirable sense of grit and determination. They're visibly reacting with full body spasms every time the preacher issues another punctuating hawk or deeply inappropriate turn of phrase. Karkat continues heckling him all throughout, at one point delivers no less than 30 uninterrupted instances of the phrase "fuck you." Through the most of the eulogy, Roxy continues attempting to urge others to settle down and give him a chance, based on the many endorsements she's heard of his spiritual oration skills. But even she gives up on this effort when one especially boisterous honk results in Gamzee knocking over the lectern entirely, which he does not bother to pick up. Instead, he proceeds with his eulogy as if nothing happened, while openly scratching an itch between his codpiece. At this point, Dave has had enough and exits the church. Karkat follows him. Gamzee inhales deeply, preparing to launch into what could quite possibly be the full body of his speech, rather than one or two mercifully concluding remarks. Roxy stands up and begins clapping loudly to bring a heroic end to the elocutionary horror show. Wow, wasn't that just great, folks? Wow, just wow, I knew this guy wouldn't let us down. Bravo! Damn, I feel like if I never heard another word this guy ever said, that'd be fine, because that was all just so perfect. Anything more would only dampen this perfect memory he gave us. Take a bow, Gamzee, and then, yeah, next it's that way. Honk! She nudges Jake. Hey, dude, can you please get up there and say something as, like, a palate cleanser? He was your best bro. Come on, you surely got something in your heart to say. Oh, okay. Hey, everybody, it's Jake's turn. He's got a few words he'd like to say for our dear departed buddy. Oh, for fuck's sake. John mutters a few imprecations under his breath and gets up before Jake can take the stage. He's concerned about Dave and heads for the exit, beating Gamzee there easily. Gamzee's strolling so leisurely, in fact, he's barely made it off the stage yet. John pushes out into the churchyard. The rain has receded into a light drizzle, which is nice. Less like being trapped in a high-pressure shower and more like being sprayed with a plant mister. He looks around the largely decorative graveyard and spots Dave and Karkat huddled together beneath an eave of the churchyard walls. John begins to move towards them, but stops when he notices how close together they're standing. Dave got his suit jacket unbuttoned and pulled over Karkat's head to shield him from the rain. Karkat's the one talking, his caterpillar eyebrows furrowed but his gaze soft. Whatever he's saying makes Dave turn his face away, but Karkat winds a hand in his shirt and tugs him in, forces him to make eye contact. They both go still, seeming to finally realize how close their faces have gotten, how Karkat's fingers are brushing down the length of Dave's torso. Dave dips down so that their noses are bumping. Karkat's eyes are so wide, it's amazing they don't pop out. For a moment, it looks like they're going to... John sneezes. Dave and Karkat jump apart like opposing magnets. Oops. Hi guys. John waves dopily in hopes that he doesn't look as buffoonish and mortified as he feels. Dave and Karkat are still staring at each other from the corners of their eyes, warily. Something silent and tense passes between them. They make a quick recovery. Hey. I see that even you couldn't bear Gamzee's asinine, brutal, and 100% non-consensual assault on your listening caters, and also the basic decency with which sapient beings apparently owe one another on this planet. No, actually, I listened to the entire thing. I have no idea why I did that. Now I have this old memory in my head that I definitely could have lived without. I was just worried because you didn't come back. Dave, are you okay? Dave glances at Karkat again. He smiles. It's a sad smile, but it's there. Yeah, well, no. But it's okay to not be okay about this specific thing, I think. So, for once, I think I'm actually having, a totally unironically normal emotional reaction to a thing, which loops back around into being okay. In fact, I'm probably the most okayest I've ever been objectively. Are you sure? That was 100 words to express a 3-letter sentiment. I'd say he's doing fine. 'Cause I was thinking. John chews the inside of his mouth and blinks down at his hands. Now that he's paused to think a little, what he's about to offer is a pretty weird way to console a friend after the death of a loved one. Do you want me to go back? Dave quirks an eyebrow. Go back? With my retcon powers. I could go back and stop him. Dude, Dave says at the same time that Karkat shouts, John! What? Do you not have an inch of goddamn sense in that thick fucking skull of yours? What? John, come on, what are my powers? Time travel? So you don't think I would have already done that if I thought it was a good idea? Well, okay, yeah, obviously. But if you did do it, we wouldn't even know right now, because it would have just made a new timeline where Dirk didn't kill himself. That's how time travel works, right? Well, actually, Dave makes a wavy hand gesture that implies he's about to jump into a rant about causality or whatever. John cuts him off. But if I retcon it, then it's like it never happened. We wouldn't have to have this horrible funeral after all. I don't know, dude. That's a little fucked up, actually. You think so? Yeah, Dirk was a complicated guy. Dude obviously had reasons for doing what he did. If you go back and just rewrite his decision, that's like denying him his personal autonomy. Huh. I didn't think about it that way. John frowns. Dave opens his mouth to say something else, but he's cut off by Jade poking her head out of the church window. Dave! Roxy's wondering where you are. Oh, yeah, I'll be right there. What about you, Karkat? You coming? Yes! God! Can a man stand on a moist and dreary piece of religious property to help console his man bro? His main bro. Jesus fuck, God forbid we upset the carefully orchestrated funeral programming which just featured a segment wherein a deeply unpopular clown pissed himself in front of the clamoring paparazzi. Oh Lord, you dumb baby. Karkat, it looks to me like you're the one third-wheeling Dave and John's poignant bro times, so why don't you get your butt on over here? Ah, fine. Karkat stomps back towards the church, bickering with Jade all his way across the graveyard. Dave adjusts his shades and puts a hand on John's shoulder. John, I get what you were trying to do, but it's okay, dude. I'm okay. John nods, swallowing hard. His throat is all dry of a sudden. Dave turns and walks back into the church. Once John is absolutely sure Dave is gone, he closes his eyes, breathes in deep through the nose, and raises both his hands. Nothing happens. John cracks one eye open. It's been a while since he'd tried to do, well, anything more complicated than going out for dinner, to be honest. Has he just forgotten how to invoke his game powers? Do the windy thing, he thinks to himself. A brisk breeze howls through the graveyard, rustling some leaves off a nearby tree. Nope, that's all good. Do the retcon thing? He thinks much, much harder than he thought about doing the last thing. Still nothing. That's weird. It was just working the other day. He stares at his hand so hard that his head starts to hurt, so hard that he doesn't hear the footsteps sloshing through the wet grass behind him. When Roxy taps him on the shoulder, he yelps and shoots 6 feet up into the air. "No, John, it's just me." John spins around to greet her. He hides his hands behind his back like he was doing something bad with him, which he guesses he was, kind of. Roxy shields her eyes against the rain and laughs. "Doing okay up there, B?" "I'm fine. Wait, B?" 2016 hasn't happened yet. B doesn't mean that. John lands softly, close enough to Roxy that she can slide a hand up his arm. "Yeah, like, short for babe, 'cause you're my babe, B." "Oh, right." John feels himself flush and runs an awkward hand through his hair. He's still a little embarrassed to show affection in public places like this. He slips a hand into the small of Roxy's back and feels a pang of guilt about what he saw transpire between Dave and Carcat earlier. "Is Dave okay?" "Yeah, I guess. Are you okay?" "Yeah." Her gaze gets distant and she stares at something over John's shoulder. Whatever she's thinking about, it tugs a soft smile across her face. "Yeah, actually, I'm more than okay. 'Cause I've been thinking." "Oh?" Roxy starts dancing her fingers up John's chest. "About you and me, miss." She bops him on the nose. "Hey, John, we should get hitched." John stares at where Roxy's finger is still pressing down on his nose and goes a little cross-eyed as his brain tries to process what she just said. What? What? Come on, John, marry me." "I read that backward. Like..." John looks around the graveyard nervously. "Right now?" "How totes. We're already at the church and everything." Oh my god. John, "Oh my god, are you serious?" Roxy starts laughing so hard she has to wipe away a tear. She leans in to give John a quick, chaste kiss on the lips. "No! Well, John, you take everything so literally. It's fucking adorbs. Is that why you want to marry me?" "Yeah, I'm off the charts with all my jokes and shit. I gotta even that all out with this huge helping of clueless nerd." "Roxy, okay, but let's be serious here a moment. I actually do love you. You're so earnest. It's cute as fuck, and also, I always know where I stand with you. Roxy, besides, this whole thing with Dirk, it made me realize that even though we're immortal, we're not necessarily gonna live forever. Life's too short to not spend every moment with the one you love." That word hits John like a sucker punch to the gut. He goes breathless with shock, adrenaline pumping through him, his blood rushing in his ears. When he speaks, his voice is hoarse. "You love me?" "Yes, John, I love you." "Yeah, John, I love you. I want to marry you and spend the rest of my life with you and pop out a bunch of cute little bucktooth babies with you." Wow, Roxy, that's a lot. "You don't gotta answer right now. Just know it's on the table." He doesn't know what to think. He so doesn't know what to think that he's spiraling inside his head, shaking all over, damp with sweat. Something about this doesn't feel right. Just a few weeks ago, Roxy was happy with Calliope, and now she wants to have his babies? John feels like he's missing something important here, like he went for a bathroom break during part of the movie where the plot twist happens. He should give Roxy some time, get himself some space. It's all happened so fast that he's suffocating. On the other hand, isn't that how love's supposed to feel? Like a quick plunge into cold water, a feeling that grows unexamined and then gets so big that the realization washes over you like a wave. Roxy's unbearably beautiful, with moisture clinging to her eyelashes and a smile that she's only smiling because of how much she likes him. She likes him so much that she wants to be around him every single day. John's stomach feels like it's doing pirouettes. His hands come up around Roxy's shoulders and keep going until he's cupping her face in both hands. He starts giggling. Okay, let's do it." Roxy waggles her eyebrows. "Ooh, you want to do it?" "Yeah, that too. But I meant about the getting married thing. Let's do that. Let's totally get married." John practically, Roxy practically attacks John's mouth. She's so excited. John shuts his eyes and kisses her back, still giddy with laughing against her lips. She kisses him until they're both breathless, then pulls back so that she can gaze at him with glittering eyes. Oh my god, we're gonna be so freaking happy. It's macaroni time. You thought it wasn't gonna be macaroni time for a while. Maybe you forgot about the macaroni. The macaroni didn't forget about me. It's been here the entire time. I am going to have it. Yeah, maybe I should finish reading Problem Sleuth. The thing is, I can't finish the actual, like, official fancy-ass Let's Read. Because, one of my voice actors, I basically cannot speak to the man. But I think I might just read it like this. It'd be fine. I can probably pull off a couple of the voices. Apologize to Bambosh for making him do all those lines I'm never gonna use. Son of a bitch. Yeah, maybe you need this break too. Maybe waiting around and listening to me eat macaroni is like a good breather for you. Maybe that's why you don't unpause or skip over it. And I don't know. It's weird, but whatever works for you, huh? Put this piece of vine charcoal back. God. Girl from Ipanema, so fresh, so clean. Don't know. I would tell you the macaroni's better than the chicken, but macaroni's not really like candy, so that doesn't work in a metaphorical sense. I think I'm ready to go back. Hey Terezi, guess where I am right now? Your human wedding? Considering the humans are the only species on Earth see with the concept of weddings, technically all weddings are human weddings, so there's really no reason to qualify it like that, Terezi. When did you get so hung up on semantics? When I became a real adult. Speaking of which, no, I am not at my human wedding. That was months ago. What? You forgot. I thought you'd say you try to make back in time for it. John, I talked to you yesterday. Wow, if I knew time moved differently out there than it does here, but that's really something else. It's been almost 6 months for me. Huh? Okay, well, in that case, I guess I can forgive you for missing my wedding. You can do that if you want, but I never actually asked for your forgiveness. And I have no intention of apologizing. It's not me you need to apologize to. Everyone really wanted to see you. Kanaya, Dave, and Carcat all asked about you like a zillion times. Really? A zillion? Okay, I'm obviously exaggerating for effect, but they've asked a lot. Carcat says you've been ignoring his messages for literal years at this point. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, why am I the only one you ever answer? I mean, we weren't even that close, were we? Not like you were... Not like you were with him. Don't overthink it, Egbert. You were just the most annoying about being ghosted. Far too annoying to ignore. Thanks, Terezi. I'll have that one put on my tombstone. Yes, please do.
Immortalize my peerless, brutal junkings. I get the impression that everyone is going way too easy on you in my absence.
Oh yeah, it's seriously horrible. I'm suffering under all the positive attention from my caring friends.
So, how was your default culture pair mating event?
My wedding? Good, I guess. Really good, actually. You should have seen Roxy. She's so beautiful in her dress. I mean, there were some awkward patches, but it was mostly okay.
Awkward patches? Like what? Was Gamzee there?
Yeah, but he wasn't that bad for once. He mostly just hung out by the punch and tried to touch Jake's ass. Jake. Oh, God, okay. See, the worst part was when Roxy had to throw the bouquet, right? Jane and Jake are kind of, together now.
Oh, God.
And she basically ordered Jake to catch the bouquet or else. I was seriously afraid for him, and then he didn't even catch it.
Why did she want it so bad? Is it edible?
Whoever catches the bouquet is the next couple to get married.
Huh? Is that the law in human culture?
Oh, no, there's no law.
Then what sort of binding contract exists surrounding the bouquet?
I keep saying bouquet instead of bouquet. What? Do Americans say bouquet or bouquet? Bouquet. I'm fucking it up.
Surrounding the bouquet to make it so desirable.
None, it's just a thing humans do for fun.
So it's a superstition.
I'd call it more of a tradition, although in the case of Jane and Jake, superstition might be a more appropriate word.
This story is a lot of extraneous details. You're really bad at gossiping, you know that, John? Get to the juicy bits. Who got the bouquet?
Well, it was Jade. Jade, Dave, and Carcat.
All three of them? Does that mean...
Yeah, they're all dating. Or rather, Jade is dating them both. Dave and Carcat haven't exactly figured things out yet. As much as I love Jade, I don't actually think she's helped matters by putting herself in the middle of it.
Somehow that doesn't seem right.
I know, and that's why it was so messed up that Jade caught the bouquet. I'm seriously, tripped up about how I'm saying bouquet. Now I have to pretend to laugh and think it's funny when she makes jokes about being the next to tie the knot.
Wow, did she really go for that double entendre?
What?
What?
What do you mean?
Never mind. Anyway, sounds like a tough life, Egbert.
Har har. Okay, you're right. Things are pretty good right now if that's the worst thing I had to complain about. Things will probably work out with those three anyway. Things always work out between old friends. We've all known each other for too long to cause any permanent rift.
So, if you're not at your human wedding right now, where are you?
Huh?
Oh my god, are you serious? You have the memory of a cuttlefish. You opened this conversation by asking me to guess where you are right now.
Oh, I'm at the hospital.
Are you bleeding?
What the hell, Terezi? No, I'm not fucking bleeding.
Oh, that's unfortunate. In that case, are you okay?
Yeah. Actually, I'm more than okay. It's great. I'm not here for me. It's for Roxy. She's pregnant.
Pregnant?
It means we're gonna have a baby.
I know what pregnant means, John. It just seems kind of fast.
Well, it's what happens when people get married.
Are humans not capable of having sex unless they infer a contractual agreement?
God damn it, Terezi.
Well, aren't they?
Of course they are, but marriage is what makes it special.
What? Oh, nothing. You're just so...
Let me guess. So dumb. Buh.
Well, that too, but I was actually going to say adorable.
What?
I have to get going. It's not safe where I am. Go see your mate Sprit, John. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah, okay. Take care of yourself, Terezi.
I always do.
Hey, Terezi. This is a break in the... There's a line break here. It's probably some amount of time has passed. Hey, Terezi, I have something to tell you, and you're not going to believe it.
I already heard about Jane is dating Jake and Gamzee, unfortunately. I do believe it.
Wait. I'm sorry, I gotta kind of... Is that sentence like what I... Pause. Like, nothing has actually, caught me off guard yet, except that. To such an extent. comic's fucking stupid. Nothing matters anymore, does it, dude? I don't fucking care. What? You know how much reading I gotta do? I read like, I gotta read so much of this. It's just gonna get dumber and dumber. 'Cause nothing means anything anymore, apparently, is what's going to happen. Right. Hey Terezi, I have something to tell you and you're not going to believe it. I already heard about how Jane is dating both Jake and Gamzee, and unfortunately I do believe it. I definitely could have lived without seeing the visual evidence, however. No, Wait, how do you know about that? I lied about you being more annoying than Carcat. Carcat is still the most astonishingly annoying person I know. Oh, so you talked to him and Dave just for a bit. There was an incredibly hot piece of gossip, and I couldn't trust you to deliver it with the air of gravitas it deserved. Can I return to doing the voices now? I think I can. Okay.
That's probably true.
This whole Jake, Jane, Gamzee thing's freaking me out, actually. I mean, they're technically my parents, and a version of Jane was literally my Nana. And now she's having sex with Gamzee. Ugh, never mind. I don't even want to think about it.
I hope you haven't seen the picture Dave took.
Dave has a picture? Wait, never mind. I don't want to know, and I definitely don't want to see it.
Very well, your loss. It is certainly something to behold, though, I must say.
Whatever. So, what do you think, talking to Dave and Carcat? Why does Snapchat exist in the Homestuck universe, and it was not around in 2009? Hold on.
Well, it's certainly something to behold, I must say.
Whatever. So, what did you think, talking to Dave and Carcat? Did they seem happy?
Nope.
Oh my god, I know, right? This whole thing is such a mess. It's hard to be in the same room with them these days. I don't even know the full story because Dave won't talk to me about it anymore, and Jade seems to think that everything's going just fine.
Carcat had some choice words to say about Jade's lackluster black-rom conduct.
So, he doesn't think the situation's great either?
No, Jade is definitely not in hate with him, and it shows.
Yeah, Jade doesn't have exactly a whole lot of hate inside her. In fact, it's probably the opposite. I think she was alone for so long that she's stored up this huge reservoir of love and she has no idea how to put a dam on it. I think she means well, but in most ways she's really smart, but socially speaking, I think she might be kind of an idiot.
That's putting it lightly.
How does Carcat feel?
He's not collisionist for her either. If I had to give my assessment of what's grown between them from my brief observation of this situation, I'd describe it as resentment.
Oh no.
Resentment can be fine in a short-term black affair if the goal is just to fill pails and avoid culling, but in a sustained romantic rivalry, it will always spell ruin. Just like in a colligonous relationship, how it's important for you to be able to communicate with your kismesis.
Really?
Of course. A true kismesis is just as much your life partner as a mate sprit is.
Huh, I had no idea. Not to be culturally insensitive, but I thought it was just like you'd meet up every once in a while to do, like, hate makeouts.
John, you are being extremely culturally insensitive. Sorry. You can't just say not to be something and then go on and say be exactly that. It is absolutely problematic.
I'm just asking questions.
Xenophobic questions, it would seem.
Man, not you two.
To what?
Pointing out stuff that's xenophobic all the time, but in a way where you probably don't even mean it?
Don't even mean it? Why wouldn't I mean it? Is cultural sensitivity a joke to you?
All I'm getting at is, you've been talking to Dave a lot, haven't you?
I keep my correspondence with Strider well within reasonable parameters, just like I do with you. To be honest, much less than you, who even has the time for nonsense of cool kids like these days.
Time? You've got nothing but time, apparently, flying around out there for God knows how much longer.
Why don't you just give it a rest already and come back? I cannot rest until the mission remains incomplete. You know this. Seriously, it's beautiful back on Earth Sea here, Terezi. It's so peaceful and harmonious. You should check it out sometime. Yes, some kiss-missus relationships have... I just fucking skipped down the page. I'll pass. Anyway, as I was saying, just like with human romantic relationships, there are all kinds of kiss-mississitudes. Wow, you changed the subject back so fast, I think I got whiplash. Yes, some kiss-missis relationships are of the nature you describe, but not all of them. The point of a kiss-missis is not just to make you annoyed or even angry. They should push you to better yourself. They should shine a light on the things about yourself you would otherwise ignore or deny. Huh. Is that why... Why what? Is that why you're so determined to find her? It is, isn't it? No. Vriska and I were... I can't even explain it. It's just not as simple as you're making it out to be. Alright. Besides, between us, things were always so... weird? Dramatic! I think I've cosmically had my fill of dramatic black relationships for a long time. If I were to ever do black rom again, it would have to be low-key. You know, like gentle teasing, vaguely antagonistic feelings gems. Someone who I could both torment and have an honest conversation with. When you put it that way, I guess maybe it doesn't sound so bad. Thank you for your cultural sensitivity. I have high hopes for you, Egbert. One day I hope to be able to introduce you and your friends and say, this is John. He's not xenophobic. Oh, yeah? Well, I one day hope to introduce you to people and say, hi, this is Terezi. She doesn't suck shit. Anger face. Anger face. I don't have a good Terezi voice. I don't think I do.
Oh, you do like a...
No.
Oh, Carcat, this is how I talk. I'm Terezi. This is how I talk. Mary.
Fuck off. Like I'm really, really doing it justice there.
Eat crayons. Bought a bunch of stale old crayons. I'm gonna munch down on them throughout the course of the day. Best meal I ever had, it was a Crayola 128 pack.
Motherfucker. See, I just don't have a good Terezi voice. I'm sorry. You gotta live with it. So many time skips. So many time skips. So many time skips. 3 months later, John is still thinking about his last conversation with Terezi. It's kind of impossible not to do so when Rose and Kanaya keep saying the name Vriska every 5 minutes. He really thought they were done hearing about Vriska all the time, but apparently Rose and Kanaya were intent on breathing new life into that tradition. Vriska, don't chew on your chair's dinner tray. Darling, she's only a grub. She hasn't yet grown her oral canals. Yes, but I believe strongly that we should get in the habit of speaking to her like an adult. It'll be good for her social development. Is that how your mother raised you? I would have loved it if my mother spoke more frankly with me, but she was, let's just say, a rather awkward person. No offense, Roxy. No, none taken. I can't even imagine all the ways I'd fuck up a kid in a timeline where I didn't sort out my drinking, to be honest. Oh, you weren't awful. I just have... How do you always put it, dear? A penchant for melodrama. Well, yeah, your dad made sure he got some of himself in you. I suppose he did. And then everyone in the room observes a moment of silence for their dear departed friend Dirk Strider, except for John, who takes advantage of the solemn distraction to anxiously tap at his phone. He'd sent Terezi a text an hour ago while Roxy was fixing her makeup in the compact. He's not sure why he feels the need to hide the fact that he's talking to her. It's not like there's anything untoward about what he's doing, just texting an old friend. What's wrong with that? Nothing at all, he thinks, as he closely monitors his silent, praying wife, ready to stash the phone in his pocket the moment she shows the slightest sign of movement. She lifts her head to speak. He's like Houdini with that phone. Damn, I still can't believe Dirk's gone, though. Yes, it was so sudden.
But the best we can do to honor him is simply move on with our lives. I'm sure it's what he would have wanted. Huh? John shoots Rose a weird look. She smiles back benignly, then goes to collect her troll daughter from her booster seat. She holds baby Vriska close to her chest and leans over to give Kanaya a kiss on the cheek. The precious grub is framed between them, and the two wives are ringed in a halo of pale light at the peak of this magical moment. It should be a beautiful image, but something about it just roils in John's gut. Rose sits back down, cradles Vriska in one arm, and begins to unbutton the top of her shirt with the other. John instinctively finds something else to look at. Anything. His fidgeting hands will do. This scene has breastfeeding. This scene has breastfeeding. This scene has breastfeeding Vriska. I told you they took it out. They didn't take it out. It's still in there. And by the way, I know I said I knew a little bit about the epilogue at when I did the prologue video. I knew that there was apparently that some of the tags there's actually they're actually in here. I know a little bit about some of this shit, but I remember okay, a lot of this is new to me, and by a lot of it I mean 80% of it, 90% of it, I have not heard of this shit, okay? If you think that because I said some shit in the prologue video that I knew a little bit of leaks about this, I really don't. I'm sort of still, kind of off the shits here, boys. Have you two thought about what to name your grubs? It's just one grub, lol. Oh, that's a relief. I've actually been very worried about your well-being considering how human grubs are born. Why? Well, don't they have to eat their way out of the womb? Kanaya. It's what Karkat told me. Karkat gets all his information on humanity from the movies. And Dave, which is even worse than the fucking movies. I said fucking on accident.
Wait a fucking minute. What movies are they watching?
Nothing too graphically misleading, I suspect. I equally suspect that any time there's a human birthing moment on camera, Karkat probably turns away, too disgusted to watch, while Dave continues filling his ear with more lies about human biology. Lol. Then I was given inaccurate information. Yes. Woo. If that were true, how would our species have survived? We would have had a 100% maternal mortality rate during childbirth. Yes, I forgot how primitive medical technology was on your planet. Then how are humans born? Use your head for a moment, darling. Oh, I see. Oh, wow. I'm sorry, John. All this girl talk must be making you uncomfortable.
Can we change the subject to something less gross and weird?
What?
So, is Vriska really the name you're going with?
Kanaya gives John an inquisitive, wide-eyed look, as if there could be no conceivable reason for someone to ask this question. Yes, of course. Why would we change her name when she's nearly a year old?
Well, it's not like it would hurt or anything. Didn't Kanaya just say she doesn't have ears yet?
Oh my god, John, don't be rude.
I'm not trying to be rude. I just think it's a little weird.
I don't see why. I mean, she's practically a clone of Vriska.
Yeah, Kanaya, I know. That's why it's weird.
I appreciate your concern, John, but it's not that weird to name a child after an important figure from your youth. What were you thinking of naming your own child? John hesitates, adjusts his glasses for want of something to do with his hands. This is a conversation he's been dragging his heels on for months. Back when Roxy first got pregnant, it was all they talked about. But now that she's so close to the due date, all the subject does is make his pulse go shaky. Harry Anderson Egbert. Roxy, I didn't think we were decided on that. I don't know, you seem pretty set on it. He was. What's bugging him about it is that Roxy didn't seem to have any suggestions of her own. Rose stops breastfeeding Vriska and hands her off to Kanaya. Just to reiterate, Rose stops breastfeeding Vriska and hands her off to Kanaya. She comes to sit beside John, setting a hand on his knee. She speaks kindly. Wasn't that the guy from Night Court? Yeah, which was a show that reminds you of your father.
I think that in this new world we've created, it's important to carry the torch of what we left behind us. We must name the next generation for the fallen heroes we admire.
Wait, we admire Vriska now?
It's true that Vriska was a controversial figure even at the best of times, but she did defeat Lord English, John. This remark seems to cure John of his shaky pulse problem, if only because for a moment his heart seems to stop beating altogether. It shocks him in a way that causes him to feel the planet turning under his feet. He whips his head up to look at Rose intently. She seems alert. Her gaze is precise. She doesn't seem ill or off or confused at all.
No, she didn't? Vriska didn't defeat Lord English.
Rose doesn't say anything. No one knows anything. No one says anything.
Rose, no one knows what happens to Lord English.
Of course we do. Vriska used the Juju and her accompanying ghost army to defeat him. Why else would we be here?
I don't think that's what actually happened, though.
Then what did happen, John?
I just said, no one knows. Rose, come on. You're the one who told me about all this.
I told you what?
About a year ago, you were feeling bad and you asked me to come over. Then you gave me this big speech about canon and being like outside canon and not canon and other shit like timelines and fate and my anime dreams.
That's all in the past, John. Everything worked out in the end. Why are you getting so upset about this?
You gave me a list of instructions and then told me I had to defeat Lord English. Had to use my retcon powers to go back to a very specific point in time to defeat Lord English when he was just a kid. And you told me I had to do this to validate the sequence of reality, but I didn't. I was all ready to go. I thought I was going to die, honestly. But then you...
John swivels round to point a finger at his wife. It comes off more accusatory than he means to be.
Roxy, you and Calliope told me I had a choice. And I made my choice, which is why I ended up staying. But did it really all work out in the end? If I didn't stop Lord English, then are we even really here at all?
The three gals in the room exchange a series of concerned glances. Do they truly think he's crazy? Are they hiding something from him? John can feel himself trembling. It's not possible that he's remembering this wrong, is it? It can't be. If he presses his eyes shut, he can still see the lines of the black hole cracking space apart around him. It seemed like such a big deal at the time, and then suddenly it felt like nothing at all. Why? Roxy leans over and sets a cool hand on John's forehead. You doing okay there, babe?
I'm fine.
You're the one's not doing okay, he nearly shouts, but then realizes it's just going to make him sound crazier than he already looks. He brushes Roxy's hand away and stands abruptly, looking woozy and sweating at the temples. His skin is tight and clammy, too hot and too cold all at once.
I just need some fresh air.
Would you want me to come with you?
No, I mean a moment alone. I think I'm just getting these, new dad jitters. That must be it.
Oh, of course. That makes sense, John. Go take care of yourself. That makes sense. Go take care of yourself, hon. John grabs his coat and sprints out of the hive. He vaults into the air and follows the breeze up, coasting over the tree line and out of the troll suburb that Kanai and Rose have made their home in. Furiously, he begins typing on his phone.
Terezi, I know that you've got important stuff to do out there in Paradox Space, but I really need to hear from you. On my side, it's been months since we've last talked, and I can't figure out if it's because I've said something wrong or if it's because something terrible happened for you. Things here on Earth are...
John shuts his eyes for a moment and takes a deep breath. The breath that rattles over the forest seems foul somehow, stale, like air that's been recycled multiple times over.
They're not great. I mean, on the surface, everything is fantastic. Everyone's so happy and it finally seems like we're all making real progress as adults. But at the same time, everyone's also acting crazy. I feel like I'm the only sane person left in this entire universe. I'm the only one who seems to care about anything. I mean, care about anything bigger. Bigger than, like, what to name a baby or who's stuck in a terrible relationship with who. Oh my god, this probably sounds so pathetic. Terezi, I'm seriously pathetic. It's so selfish of me to even be messaging you at all. I've got a beautiful wife who loves me, but it's not enough. I can't even talk to her about what we're going to name our stupid kid without it turning into some weird thing where she just goes along with whatever I want. Even when all I want is for her to want something different than what I want. Okay, wait. I take that back. Our kid's not stupid. Well, okay, he hasn't been born yet, so maybe he'll turn out to be stupid eventually. What do I know? The point is, I'm just popping off on random things at people who don't deserve it because I'm really upset right now. Not at anyone in particular, probably just at myself. Like, wow, can you believe how shitty I'm being right now? You could be dead for all I know, yet here I am begging for your attention even though my life is perfect. But I don't know who else I can talk to. Even Rose is acting weird all of a sudden. What I'm trying to say is, you're the only thing that still makes sense to me, Terezi. Right now, I just really need you. Please come make some sense at me.
John notices his fingers are shaking. He makes a conscious effort to keep them still and exhales. Come make some sense at me? Good lord. He's got to pull it together before he blurts out something really embarrassing. He braces himself as if splashing an imaginary glass of cold water in his own face, and reminds himself once again that he has a wonderful life. A perfect life. He's happy, god damn it. He's about to pocket his phone when he catches some movement at the bottom corner of the screen. It's an indication that someone's typing. He stops breathing until the text actually appears.
Okay, loser. Tell me what happened this time.
Jane may have stepped away from her pursuit of public office, but it's important to go on this side story and not focus on what the fucking going on with Terezi right now. But it's important for any educated businesswoman to stay abreast about the political goings-on of her nation. She keeps close watch on the political landscape. She's got people with eyes on every newspaper and website on Earthsea, but she likes to watch the human news herself. It's just such a delightfully adult thing to do, she thinks, as she spreads out languorously in front of her television. She remembers her father doing the same all the time. Well, without the luxurious silk robe and 80-inch TV screen. I admit I had second thoughts about calling off my presidential bid after what happened with Dirk, but you know what? I'm surprised to say this administration isn't too shabby at all. I was really worried that one of the candidates would naively roll back the troll population control ordinances once Kanaya got the mother group up and running, but they're really taking a hard line on this. Gamzee, as ever, stands by Jane's side, assisting her as she jots down notes about the political events of the day. When she asks for a fresh pen, he fishes one out of his codpiece and hands one to her, but he looks uncharacteristically disquieted. I still don't know how this is working. So, you know. Whoa, are you really all up in supporting that sticky shiz, my woman? Excuse me, the what? It looks to me like the human man's trying to keep my people down, all discriminatorily and such. Jane chuckles at Gamzee's jape, but the strange expression persists on his clownish face. This be wicked serious, boo. Y'all really down with subjugulating my ninjas? You know, like, there's an implication there that he's saying the N-word. And I didn't read it with the intonation that he did. And you know what? Now I'm like, I'm fine that I didn't. I've only just now had to, like, confront that. But fuck it. Whatever. Jane scoffs. The downside of taking notes by hand is that one's wrist is bound to get a bit sore, and that it's left her short on patience for the tiresome ordeal of explaining the basic functioning of a political system to an ignorant farceur. Gamzee, please. I'm not down with doing anything of the sort. Some of my best friends are trolls. I have no ill will towards trolls at all, and I want them to have the same opportunities and privileges as any human, or carapacian, or what have you. But there are certain measures that are, realistically speaking, necessary in order to assure that the opportunities and privileges remain equivalent across the board. But breeding control? I don't know, man. Doesn't seem keeping in the spirit of tolerance and equality and all that, man. Gamzee, you just don't get it. It's not about equality. It's about equity. Yeah, I don't follow, huh? You see, in a system of equality, every individual is dealt exactly the same hand. Maybe this is an analogy you would understand. What if we lived in a world where there were only one size of shoe? That would be perfectly equal if everyone had equal access to that shoe. But would it suit everyone? Could everyone put on that one size of shoe and receive an equivalent level of support and comfort? I don't know, as long as it's a big old shoe, it might be alright, man. Jane has to pause to huff in exasperation. No, Gamzee, everyone needs shoes that fit the size of their feet.
You need to make unequally sized shoes for unequally sized feet. Oh, word? I know all about that, boo-boo. If you say so, it's true. Yes, it's true. It's the same thing with building laws that are conducive to a functioning, equitable society. But some people are simply born into positions that confer upon them certain advantages, and it's the job of the government to ensure that people who are less fortunate can be lifted up, as it were, to match their luckier peers. We must offer greater assistance to some classes of people than others to assure that equity. Such is the case with natural troll and human birth rates. So you saying you need different shoes for your human dicks and whatnot? Precisely. The reintroduction of the mother grub changes everything. Trolls and humans don't have identical birth rates. It's a fundamental biological fact that natural troll reproduction is much faster than humans. It's a matter of evolution in society. You know this, Gamzee. Your people evolved in a harsh, unforgiving world where the slightest misstep could lead to death, and like any animal would, your biology adapted to the circumstances. Your mother grubs have the capacity to produce an unimaginable quantity of eggs at a time to ensure that at least a few can survive to reproductive age. And I understand that in the context of Alternian society, that worked great. But because the mortality rate was so high, only a manageable number of individuals were able to make it to adulthood. But we have a peaceful society now, with benevolent caretakers and fair laws. No young trolls at danger of being killed by monstrous fauna. No one will be culled for being too weak. That doesn't change your biology. So what does that mean for the troll population? It would spiral out of control within a matter of generations. You would come to outnumber humans at a factor of thousands, millions to one. The infrastructure would not be able to keep pace. The economy would be completely destabilized. The market would be flooded with thousands of trolls who wouldn't be able to find jobs or places to live. Not to mention the huge issue of your lifespans. Some of you will live for hundreds, thousands of years. And honestly, speaking of biology, I'm not sure. If we were to loosen population controls right now, then your people have, let's just say I think it would be irresponsible to gamble on whether or not the natural Alternian order will reassert itself in such a troll-dominated society. I just accidentally banged the table. Maybe in 100, 200 years, when you've proven, and I believe you will, I really do, but when you've proven that you can coexist in a harmonious society with natural breeding, it might not matter exactly how many more trolls there are than humans. Wait. Didn't we all up and jump forward so we got 2,314 sweeps of history or somewhat? With artificial breeding? I don't know, babe. This is all starting to sound a little xenophobic. Xenophobic? Jane narrows his eyes at the disingenuous buffoon. This is not the first time she's had a conversation like this with him by any stretch of the imagination. What's more likely is he's attempting to get a rise from her, to get her a little hotter under the collar, to put her in a certain mood. I just explained it's essential that these regulations remain in place so that the human and troll populations can remain proportionate. It isn't as if this issue is comparable to racism within a single species, a phenomenon rooted solely in spurious cultural stereotypes, junk science, and knee-jerk bigotry. These are objectively real and These are objectively real and quantifiable biological and behavioral differences between our species, which absolutely must be accounted for if we're to live in a harmonious society together, where no species holds any advantage over another. I'm trying to prevent xenophobia. I may just be a simple motherfucking clown, not all knowledge learned about the intricacies of human economics and interspecies diplomacy, but all that political pontificating you just slammed down in my think pan. Can't help but feel like it, little like the beatings of a bitch who's about... Bleedings of a bitch who's... Can't help but think that it feels like the bleedings of a bitch who's about to get all up and canceled. Canceled? And just like that, she falls into his trap. There's no turning back now. The salacious ritual is imminent. Excuse me, sorry, canceled? Are you even hearing yourself? Who in the world gave a literal insect in clown face the authority to be canceling anybody? Wow, honk. Oh, forgive me if I'm a bit nettled to hear a drug-addicted clown who murdered half his friends to tell me that I, Jane Crocker, am canceled? Hey, you know that's insensitive. Addiction is a disease, and I can't rightly help that my Lucis were never around to teach me right from wrong. Yes, we've all heard your story, but I gone and repented now. My tall, frosty mamacita, I'm a righteous man, and all I ever been trying to do is get right get you right too, with morals and goodness all filled up inside you, tight as your tasty hoe balloons are with human moo juice. Maybe what we need is a little communion, my wicked suckle sister. Flesh to motherfucking flesh. Bring those humongous bazongas over here. Get your filthy hands off me. Come on, Mama. Just a little honk to make it all better. No! I'd rather die than touch your disgusting clown baton ever again. You say that every time, my big busty babe. Makes a motherfucker start to think it's more of that political double-speak of yours, my fine dairy queen. Ah! In spite of Jane's protests, Gamzee makes a desperate play for a lusty squeeze. Jane puts up a valiant show of resistance, but Gamzee knows he has no real intent of fighting. She has no real intent of fighting him off. It's all just a part of the kismetic dance. He has his big clown mitts right on her busty bags, honking away. As soon as Jane starts screaming, the baby does too. Jake, sitting approximately 6 feet away, bounces the infant to calm him down. I would say, would you mind keeping it down for Tavros? He was sleeping, and to be honest, I think things here are getting a little blue for a baby. Do not name it Tavros. Fuck off. Stop that right now. I am not happy. Jane and Gamzee break apart at once. It's like she'd forgotten that Jake was there at all. She scrambled to cover herself properly, the moment his voice cut through the din of sloppy, moist honking. Jake, darling, don't worry. There's plenty of attention to go around, my love. Would you care to join us? I think it's okay. I think it's time for Tavros to be fed anyway. Why don't I just take a bottle and get him out of here so you two can... Oh, yes. Gamzee, get him a bottle, won't you? Jake, who'd been sitting on the other side of the couch with sweet baby Tavros in his arms, remains stiff with his squalling infant as he waits for Gamzee to carry out his commanded task. The clown bends over revoltingly in front of the couch, full rump straining against his plush purple briefs, as if daring Jake to look away. And he can't. Jake stares transfixed into the full moon of the clown's buttocks, appearing virtually shrink-wrapped by the moist fabric, as Gamzee slowly descends, fingers trailing down the entire length of his leg. His codpiece bobs between his spread thighs as he grasps the bottle of milk that had been knocked to the ground in the fracas. Then he snaps right back up with a honk that nearly makes Jake rocket out of his seat. Jake's heart is racing so hard that he loses focus. He doesn't notice that Gamzee's offering him the bottle until Jane's angry voice wrenches him back to his senses. Gamzee, that's been on the ground! Get him a clean one! Gamzee shrugs and squirrels away the half-spilled bottle in his codpiece, which apparently leads to fucking hammer space. I don't know. He walks off and returns with a fresh bottle from the fridge, then hands it over to Jake. Thanks, I'll just be going now. See ya. Jake snatches the bottle from Gamzee's hand and all but flees the room in a brisk walk as he can manage. Baby Tavros calms down as soon as the rubber nipple's in his mouth. But no matter how far Jake walks down the long corridors of Jane's mansion, the lascivious honks echo through the halls like the walls of a dolorous ghost. Nowhere is he truly safe. Every little noise emanating from that cursed living room shoots through Jake's skull like a gunshot. As Jake gently bounces the baby in one arm, he takes out his phone to text an old friend. Jade, are you there? Yep. What's up? Can we call? Sure, Jake. Jade has started up a voice call before Jake can even move to do it himself. It's such relief to hear her voice. It's something to focus on beside the "Oh, honk." Jake winces. Jake, it's been a while since you called. Is everything okay? Yep. Just hunky-dory over here. You know how it is. Love my lady and my baby and all that. Honk, 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 honk. Hoo, hoo, hoo. This little piggy went to the dark carnival. Honk, 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 honk. The sound of his wife's rapturous howling unmoors the last of Jake's composure. He staggers, threatening to spill soft little Tavros on his soft little head, killing him forever. It's not so safe to stand. So Jake shuts himself into the first empty room he comes across and lets himself slide to the ground against the closed door. Anyway, what's up with you? How's life with Dave Cat going? That's a sentence. Oh, it's great. I'm really glad I just went for it. All of us together, it really is the best of every world. To be honest, I've never really felt like I was cut out for monogamy, you know? It seems silly to even contemplate keeping all my love for one person now. I've never really believed a person ever runs out. That's great to hear. Speaking of, how are things going with you and Jane and, Gamzee? Well, it's not so much like that for me, really. Gamzee's more Janie's side piece, you know? I'm not really, well, enough about that. Have you been thinking about your plans for the future? What do you mean? Like, starting a family and such. No, really, you lot have been together a while now. You haven't put any thought into the next step? You and Dave would have some real gangbuster babies, I'm sure. I'm sure we would, but, well, not ready for it yet? By the way, I realized that, like, the components of the Candy timeline are very similar to Trickster mode, and that everybody is getting into relationships and talking about making babies and shit. Anyways. What it's about to say is... That's not really it. I'd love to have a baby like everyone else. I mean, everybody's been having them. I won't pretend I'm not a little jealous. But I don't think it's going to happen with me and Dave. What? Why not? If you want, I could give that whippersnapper a talking to. Get him to really man up and accept responsibility. No, it's nothing Dave is doing. It's me. Huh? There's no way me and Dave could have a regular baby together because I'm... What's wrong? Let's just say after all that spurb stuff did some things to my body, like merging with Beck mostly. Have you been trying? We can't really... What do you think your dog genes or whatever are keeping you from getting pregnant? Not my genes exactly. I don't really want to get into the specifics. It's about to say that she has a dog dick. I don't know. Would that rule out a union of ectobiological sort? I guess not, but I don't really think any of us are interested in having a kid with ectobiology. Just feels, well, I think we've had enough ectobiology for one lifetime. Fair enough. I've thought about asking Rose to help us, but that's so much to ask. What, as like a surrogate? To have her carry the child in her womb? Yeah, something like that. Goodness, have you mentioned this to her? Yes, we've talked a little about it. What did she say? I don't know, it's a tricky subject. She didn't say no, just that there was stuff to think about. I see. But, I must be missing something. What? Well, Dave is Rose's brother, right? Yeah. So if he supplies the fatherhood material, wouldn't that be... What? What did I just say? No, Jake. Dave wouldn't be the father in this scenario. Oh, Carcat then. Wait. No, I'm confused again. Aren't there biological compatibility issues there? I mean, with natural birth and not the ecto-what's-it machine? Carcat wouldn't be the dad either. What? Don't worry about it, Jake. Look, I gotta go, okay? It was nice talking to you. No, please don't. Huh? Don't go, please. Jake, are you okay? Yes, I'm fine. It's just... Never mind. If there's something wrong, please tell me. I'm here for you, you know that, right? There's nothing wrong. Sorry, I feel like we've been drifting apart lately is all. Because we're all so busy with our new lives and such. Just wanted to talk to you, like the old times. But I won't hold you up if you've got places to be. Jake, it's okay, Jade. I'll be okay. Okay, I really do have to go. I'm sorry. I'll talk to you again soon, okay, Jake? I'll call you. Okay, thank you, Jade. I'm sorry. Okay, bye. Jade hangs up. Jake releases a rattling sigh. Honk, 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 honk. I really don't want any more of this macaroni. Any more of this meat either. It's kind of full, you know? It's kind of full. It's kind of a lot. I'll probably just set this aside. Only got like 2 more chapters. I'm gonna set the macaroni over here. Hold on.
Okay, I'm back. I'm here again. You know, I know I take a break between every chapter, but, like, I'm recording this live and editing's a pain in the ass, so. Edited Let's Reads can eat my ass, you know the spiel. How cute do you think John's baby's gonna be? Like, on a scale of 1 to 11? Jade rolls over and nuzzles herself into the crook of Dave's armpit, taking Karkat's hand with her so it's slung over her stomach. Dave doesn't stop scrolling on his phone. His face is a kaleidoscope of neon lit from beneath by the Alternian mushrooms that flare up at night with a sick green bioluminescence, and from above by the soft glow of his social media accounts. I don't know. I still haven't come to terms with the fact that John's gonna be a dad. You don't think he'll be a good one? I didn't say that, but okay, since you asked, I mean, think about it. If you were going to rank us in order of maturity based on all the years we've known each other, about where you would put John. Karkat, lazily munching on a chocolate beetle, taps his foot against the picnic blanket. Jade moves his hand so it's resting subtly on the line of exposed skin above her skirt, where the tank top's riding up. He seems not to notice. Instead, he's seriously considering Dave's question. He picks a leg off one of his beetles and flicks it over to Jade so it lands on Dave's forehead.
Below me, but above you.
Yeah, exactly. Now that he's all married and pregnant, he's got a mustache.
I'm still not over the fucking mustache. Why not? He looks so good.
Yeah, he looks disturbingly good. I almost can't talk to him anymore. He looks so good.
Oh?
Jesus, Jade, don't fucking read into it. A bro can appreciate how attractive his bros become and maybe get a little breathless at the sight of his chiseled jawline and manly facial hair without being gay about it. I've just been thinking lately, every time I see him, he's like... Okay, don't make fun of me for saying this, but it's like... John's a man. Not a lowercase man, but a fully grown-up, legit fucking dude with a leather briefcase and a suit that he only wears on special occasions.
Pretty fucked up.
I know, right? Jade pokes a finger into Dave's chin, sliding it up his jawline so that it puckers his mouth into a pout. It's a pretty cute thing to do, if extremely immature. This might be the point Dave was trying to make, that they're all still kind of immature. Jade doesn't pick up on the obvious subtext in the conversation, however, because she's been willfully undermining the subtext in her own personal life for nearly a year now. Ooh, burp.
Well, I've actually been thinking lately about how since Rosen and I have had a kid, and Jane and Jake have had a kid, and John and Roxy are going to have a kid, what do you think if maybe we had kids?
What? Who? You and Dave?
Karkat starts laughing. Jade flicks him in the forehead.
No, stupid, all three of us.
What?
Look, I know there are issues to sort out in terms of, feasibility, but I think there are a lot of options to consider. Maybe someone can help us out. Like, someone we know? Or, I don't know, what about adoption? That would be cute. Adopting a little grub. Aw. Or a human. Whatever. I'm not picky. Is fucking right. Jade, don't you read the newspapers? The new administration's cracking down on certain kinds of interspecies adoption laws. If you're so intent on it being the three of us, we literally will not be able to adopt a human child because the human administration's afraid that I don't know, tear into it and feast on its organs? In that kind of political climate, I'm not sure it's a world I'd want to raise a troll child in right now.
Joke's on them. I've never seen you tear into anything more complicated than a microwave dinner.
I know, right?
I mean, on the other hand, if we had adopted a kid young enough, it could totally fit in the microwave.
What the fuck, Dave? I'm not going to eat our theoretical baby.
Dave puts away the phone and rolls up so that he's braced on his elbow. He meets Karkat's gaze over the rise of Jade's chest and smiles at him.
I'm having a baby, and the baby is you.
Fuck. Yeah, dude, I know. You're probably like closet dad of the fucking year, just waiting for his moment to shine. I bet you'd whine and complain about getting a kid till we actually brought Junior home. The moment you saw his chubby little cheeks, your face would light right up.
Oh, I can imagine the look on Karkat's face right now.
Yeah, you know exactly the one. Like, he looks when his Hot Pocket finishes cooking in the microwave, which he understands is an instrument of food preparation and not some sort of grim infant warming device.
Why did you have to bring it back to the microwave?
Oh, because I had more jokes about this subject.
Of course, God forbid Jade and I are not forced to listen to every letter of your morbid internal dialogue.
Whatever, you love it. Anyway, on the baby in the microwave front,
God!
I'd be more worried about me being the one who does the deed, so to speak. I mean, it's not like I have a great demonstrative background in childhood rearing or anything. Considering all the places I got left as a kid, I wouldn't be surprised if I just put our baby in the toaster by accident or something. Like, if you tally up the number of hours I spent locked in the fridge compared to the numbers of hours I've spent in the American school system learning how to be normal and do polynomials, just saying, it looks dire. Dave's staring into the distance like a stopped clock, or at the very least a dude who's been locked in the fridge more than once in his life. Jade and Karkat exchange a private look they've also given each other more than once in Dave's presence. Yeah, so anyway, I'm gonna stick to Hot Pockets, I think.
Dave, you really think you'd make that bad of a father? Even with me and Karkat helping you?
Don't take this personally, but I'm an evidence-based hypothesis kind of guy, and so far, there are three-way relationships in our friend group attempting parenthood. The record ain't looking so good. I'm just saying, a clown, a fascist, and a male sex icon walk into a bar sounds like the start of a bad but funny joke, but when it's the part of a family that's when it gets a bit less funny to me. Poor little dude's gonna be fucked up.
Oh, come on, Dave. Taros is a cute kid. Sure, he is now.
The moment cognitive function starts firing off in that kid's head, he's gonna be scarred for life.
We don't know that.
Jade, I know Jake's like your bestie and also your grandfather and also kind of your grandson. Oh, and also your fucking dad, I guess, but his relationship is bad.
Hey, that's not necessarily true. You're right. It's not fucking true. Dave's just being gentle here to spare your feelings. His relationship is not merely bad. His relationship is a flaming wreck of an interstellar warship hurling towards the planet at terminal velocity with a chagrin tunnel. Oh my god, I skipped a line. There's so much of it. With an entire troop brutally slaughtered upon re-entry, shoved straight down into the chagrin tunnel that immediately shed out the other side, thus flooding the entire fucking neighborhood when it clogs up the load gaper.
Jade sits up and wraps her arms around her knees. Her ears go flat as she chews her lip. I hope I didn't clip the mic.
It's not like I don't know that. John never shuts up about it. I mean, he and Jane used to be close back when we all first met, but the last time I talked to John, he accused her of raping Jake.
Oh, shit.
You don't fucking say. It's not like I don't worry about Jake, but come on. We're all adults. What am I supposed to do? Show up at his window dressed like the Blue Fairy and whisk him away from his terrible life? Maybe that would work for a few days, but one thing I learned from dating a lot in my youth is that dating around a lot in my youth is that no one's going to leave a bad relationship until it's their idea to leave.
She takes in a shaky breath and shuts her eyes. Her hair spills around her face when she leans in to put her chin on her knees. Dave and Karkat exchange a look that is equal parts confused, miserable, and desperate. Karkat's making a fist against the ground, digging up a handful of moss and getting dirt under his fingernails. Perhaps it's a metaphor, he wryly speculates, for the way Jade has just dug up the emotional dirt in their relationship. Dave clears his throat quietly. One of them could say something right now if they found the nerve, but as the moments slide by, nerve remains short in supply. Karkat opens his mouth without quite having settled on the words that'll come out of it. But before any do, the sky cracks open. Instead, he lets out an undignified yelp and scuttles back so he doesn't get hit by the sharp debris suddenly raining from above. Jade spins around and flings her arms out, using her space powers to catch the offensive rubble and shrink it into harmless granules. They spark and clash against her fingers. She can't quite tell what they are. They're not rocks or metal. They don't even seem to be physical. Something else comes hurling out of the hole in the sky, too fast for Jade to catch. It hits the ground with a clap of green lightning. The collision sends a geyser of dirt, rock, and vapor into the air. Dave flash steps to shield Karkat. Jade doesn't move, taking the brunt of the explosion face on, using her abilities to warp the energy around her so that she's a mote at the center of the storm. When the dust clears, she's the first to jump in the crater, trailing smoke behind her. There's a body at the center of it. The torso's bloody, tangled, and curdled into a fetal position. Its shoes are missing, but otherwise the outfit is quite familiar to her. It's a dead ringer for her old Witch of Space uniform. Jade touches the body with the toe of her shoe, and then gasps when it rolls over to reveal its face.
It's me?
Karkat and Dave stick their heads over the edge of the pit. Holy shit.
What in the ever-living fuck?
Good question. I don't know, but we should probably get her help.
Help for what? It looks like her internal organs are obliterated. She's covered in more blood than I thought humans even had inside of them.
Well, we can't just leave her in this fucking hole, man. Come on, give me a hand. Karkat watches as Jade stands over her own younger corpse. She notices the way her shoulders are slanted. It's clear, even from a distance, that she's shaking.
Jade, do you have any idea what's going on here? What should we do about this?
Jade doesn't say anything. She's staring at the body, a badly broken version of herself, probably from a different timeline, she guesses. This Jade looks about 16 years old. Her hair is matted with blood. Her appearance is gruesome, yet also peaceful somehow. Dave slides around down the ridge of the crater and grabs her by the shoulder. I was very worried that this was going to be a meteor baby. Hey, Jade, you hear us? Jade wipes a hand across her cheek and looks down to find that it's come away bloody. One of those shrunken, massless shards from the sky must have nicked her in the face. Her eyes go wide and she feels the breath go out of her for a moment. She looks directly upward. Where did this body come from? Jade.
Yes, Dave, I heard you.
Still staring at the body, Jade digs her phone out of her pocket.
I need to talk to Jane.
Got one more chapter on this. I don't have any water left. I'll refill it after this chapter. I'll just be thirsty for... How long is this? It's fairly long. Oh.
Wow, sure feels weird to just be hanging out with all these three assholes we were totally gossiping about just 20 minutes ago.
Karkat is loudly whispering to Dave, leaning in just a bit too intimately into the curve of his chest for two dudes who are dating the same girl but not each other. I always knew our gossipsons would catch up with each other eventually. Us eventually.
Shh, both of you.
Jade brushes past them holding her dead teen self under the armpits, while Jake brings up the rear, stripe-tighted ankles in hand. He shoots Dave and Karkat a big toothy grin. Dave nods back. Karkat continues to look somewhat seasick, keeping his eyes so high that they don't accidentally graze teen Jade's impaled chest. Jake and Jade take the corpse up the winding white staircase toward Jane's bedchamber. The Crocker mansion is a dazzling maze of marble halls polished to a mirror sheen. It's the kind of place where footsteps echo out from one end of a floor to the other. Even the pillows are lined with literal silver thread. There's a peaked skylight at the top of the foyer that splits the morning sun like a prism, spilling multicolored dots across every surface below. Amongst those dots are drips of teen Jane's blood. It's so dark on the spotless tile that it looks nearly black. Dave stays with Karkat by the door. They're waiting to meet Rose Kanaya, John, and an extremely pregnant Roxy, who all show up together with baby Vriska, who's really been coming along in her metamorphosis cycle lately. She now has both oral cavities and opposable thumbs, and she's making good use of the latter by reaching out to mash her hands against the face of any adult foolish enough to enter her range. She grabs one of Karkat's little nubby horns when Kanaya passes by. He reacts pretty much the same way he would as if it were actual Vriska tugging on any part of his person. He flails and grouses, making a few strangled sounds of impotent rage. It gives everyone a good giggle on a dark and confusing day. John hangs back with Karkat and Dave while the girls go upstairs.
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Oh, just enjoying a nice night out with our girlfriend while another teen version of our girlfriend plummeted out of the sky and bled all over our picnic pizza.
Picnic pizza?
Yeah, it's like normal pizza, except you eat it while sitting on a tablecloth in the fucking grass.
Oh, cool. I never thought about doing that. I just brought sandwiches to my picnics like a dumbass. Then again, the last time I went to a picnic, I ate... Actually, never mind what I ate. But it sure wasn't pizza.
You're lost, bro. It's the only way to picnic out.
Stop talking about picnic pizza, you asshole. This is in such poor taste.
Yeah, he's right. Anyway, as I was saying, we were in picnic pizza heaven when fucking space-tier Jade from, I guess 7 or 8 years ago basically face-planted in a field next to our romantic triple date.
Damn. Yeah, it was pretty bad timing.
Or extremely good timing, I don't know yet. The conversation was veering kinda,
We were in the relationship real talk zone. Anyway, can we stop dwelling on this shit and go upstairs?
As they ascend the staircase, they're greeted by the horrible bone-rattling sound of a toddler screaming its head off. In the room, little Vriska Lalonde is pulling on Tavros's Crocker thick black hair, while Jake Crocker
laughs and scratches his head awkwardly. Jane looks quite irritated. Gamzee Makara Crocker is at her side, serving as her ever-faithful shadow, holding her arm to steady her as she tries to revive Teen Jade's corpse. Jake! Vitriol leaks from every letter of his name. John and Dave exchange a knowing look. Who's supposed to be the Kismisses here again? Would you take Tavros out of here, please? Golly, Jane, I just thought it'd be invigorating for the boy to interact with someone else's age for once. We just need to do it in here, especially not when I'm trying to work. Hey now, Elixir Tits, you gotta chill. Yelling at your motherfucking maid sprit is bad for the blood pressure, babe. Oh, I'm sorry. Is a clown speaking right now? It's the darndest thing. I could have sworn I just heard a nearby offensively odoriferous clown offering some advice when no one asked for his opinion. Whoa, Janie, are you doing okay? Jane wipes perspiration off her face and sighs. I don't know. I've just been under a lot of stress lately, trying to run my business, raise a child, and manage the political situation indirectly through various corporate machinations. Jake, why are the children still in here? Take them to the playroom, now! Aye, aye, ma'am. Jake scoops up the squabbling children and holds them as far apart as possible to stop Vriska from biting Tavros' ear off. It's just one of the unfair advantages she has over him and his blunt human teeth. John and Dave part to let Jake go by. I guess Tavros is human. Quite sorry, blokes, he whispers as he takes his leave. Jane clutches her hands around Teen Jade's thin shoulders, looking the corpse over with an expression of absolute sorrow. I don't know why, but I'm having an extremely difficult time reviving her. Where did she even come from? The living Jade shakes her head. We have no idea. It's like the sky just opened up. Well, obviously she is from another timeline. Darling, can you perhaps shed some light on this? Rose sucks on her lower lip. It takes her a moment to respond. Her fingers close around the neckline of her dress as her gaze sweeps across the room. She looks over each person present, but avoids making eye contact. I haven't the faintest clue. It could be anything. John quirks an eyebrow at her. She doesn't sound confident, not like she did a month earlier when she claimed that Vriska defeated Lord English. Well, something is blocking my life powers. It's as if she has a sort of poison in her. Not a literal poison, mind you. It was if it were a simple matter as there being something in her bloodstream, I could revive her lickety-split. It's deeper than that. It's like a poison eating away at the very core of her being. It's attacking her on, perhaps this sounds crazy, but a metaphysical level? Huh? What's so odd is that not only can I not bring her back to life, she also somehow doesn't feel entirely dead. Oh, I wonder if that has something to do with me, like being here? How so? Well, all of our selves across infinite timelines are actually just one self, right? Like one ultimate self distributed across multiple bodies. So, in multiple places and states at once, that every Jade that exists is like a light being shining through 1,000 cracks in a timeline. But if we're outside the place where light is being split from, maybe only one of us can exist. Maybe that's why she's stuck in this horrible state. Roxy places her hand on Jade's head and gives her a little scritch between the ears. I think that Janie was just being melodramatic, Jade. It's not your fault. Jade reaches out to take her own corpse's hand. She remembers being this age, being heartbroken, still newly godlike in her abilities, and on the verge of fighting a battle that could change everything. She can't believe how young she looks. What should we do with her? Roxy clasps her hands together. Well, I hate to be the one who says what we're all thinking, but sounds like it's time for another funeral, Mao. Well, Mao, Roxy, Jade is dead, and you're probably going to give birth within the week. Yeah, so we gotta start planning this one right now. Huh? Come on, guys, how long's it been since we were all together like this? Roxy looks around the room searchingly with a big bright grin. Carcat snorts from the far corner of the room where he's been pouting the whole time. I'm sorry, was that a rhetorical fucking question, or were you going somewhere with it? It was not rhetorical at all. The last time we were all together was Dirk's funeral. Roxy, at the time we were mourning the death of a dear friend. I know, right? Nothing like the death of someone we love to bring us together again. We've all been so busy with being pregnant and birthing 1,000 trolls and the political situation that regulates the troll birth, and we don't even have time to catch up anymore. Jane's eyes flutter wide beneath her spectacles. Unbidden, her gaze flickers to where Rose and Kanaya are standing shoulder to shoulder, very much in a stable, devoted interspecies love. Kanaya catches that gaze and holds it for a very long, tense moment. Roxy. Kanaya interrupts, tone clipped and dry. Perhaps we should not talk about that particular subject. If your concern here is that we all continue to be in the same room, it's probably best we avoid bringing attention to the reasons that it so rarely happens. Oh, come on. Politics should never get between friends.
Easy for you to fucking say.
Jade interjects tiredly. Karkat, that's not okay. I mean, not now.
Let's not what? Let's not talk about the giant fucking trumpet beast in the room? Let's not talk about how Kanaya, Terezi, and I just worked as hard to create this world as any of you, but our people don't even get a say in how they govern themselves? Let's not talk about how the crimes of Alternia are held up to unfair scrutiny anytime a troll wants to fucking do or say something on the news, but we're not allowed to do or generalize humans based on the worst things that happened in your history? Let's not talk about how Alternia was basically this sacrificial fucking milk beast upon the altar that this universe was built on, but you all act like we're so lucky you deigned to, I'm voice cracking so much, allow us to exist alongside you instead of letting us fucking die out the way we were intended to?
Excuse me, Karkat, but no one acts like that.
Oh, no one!
Karkat pushes off the wall, furious, practically spitting flames. He points at Jane, his whole arm quivering.
I listen to the fucking news, you know. I've heard all the arguments, the ones based on the policy advice your corporate think tanks feed the president. You think it's being broadcast at a frequency only humans could hear or something? You think we're that stupid? Even I can tell that the atmosphere in the Troll Kingdom is changing, and I have never once willingly had a conversation with my neighbors. Everyone's starting to get scared. More than that, they're starting to get pissed.
Jane folds her hands in her lap. Her voice is ice cold and varnished to a shine. Is that meant to be a threat of future violence, Mr. Vantis? I'm not sure menacing me is making the most compelling case for your political claims.
Holy shit. Are you all fucking hearing this?
Yes, Karkat, we're all most definitely hearing this. It's somewhat unavoidable with you shouting it at the top of your lungs.
Sorry, I thought it might be kind of difficult for you to hear me while with your head shoved up all the way up your big, fat ass!
I don't know, man. Whoa, damn. Gamzee steps out from behind Jane, putting herself between her and Karkat. He raises his hands in a calming gesture. Hey, brother, chill out.
Fuck off, Gamzee.
Whoa, Karkat, my dude. Why are you all lashing out and shit? I thought we were motherfucking good.
No, we are not motherfucking good. We will never be motherfucking good.
Yo, come on, man. I motherfucking apologized about going all overboard with the malice and murder and shit. I motherfucking redeemed this motherfucking self. You can't get salty with your homie no more. That'd be all the rule of redemption, my brotherly bitch.
I don't care what you say the rules are, dude. I don't care if you prostrate yourself at my feet and lick the fucking dirt out from under my toenails. Don't fucking try to do that, by the way. I'm obviously being facetious. If you actually try to touch my feet with your disgusting, rotting, smelling tongue, I would probably be forced to reach down my throat and pull out my own pump biscuit. That was also me being facetious. My point is, don't touch me, don't smile at me, don't wink at me, don't honk at me, don't do anything in my direction. Got that? We are nothing to each other. Do you fucking understand me, brother?
Gamzee gets up from where he'd been crawling across the floor in preparation for some righteous attritional toe-sucking. He looks positively crestfallen. Karkat, yo, there's gotta be something I can do.
No! Never in the wildest dreams of your supper-soaked pea brain would we ever be motherfucking good, Gamzee. Because you're sleeping with the goddamn enemy. Because I still have nightmares about what you did. And because you have no idea what the fuck you even did wrong in the first place.
Whoa, okay, Karkat, I get you're all fired up about politics and stuff, but lay off Gams, okay? It's kind of hard for me to shout with Karkat's voice. It just really makes me crack my voice a lot. I'm sorry. Yes, can't you see he's sincerely trying to have a redemption arc? I get if you don't want to forgive him, that's totes your business, but you gotta at least admit he's making an effort here. Honk.
That's it!
Karkat points at Jane again, then at Roxy, then at Gamzee.
Fuck you, and especially you. In fact, fuck all of you. I'm leaving.
Carcat whirls around to leave, but Dave tries to stop him, hands on his shoulders. Carcat wrestles out from under his gentle grip, hissing. He jabs Dave hard in the clavicle, hard enough that Dave is forced to take a shocked half-step backward. Dude,
what part of all of you do you not understand, Strider? Are you as deaf as you are stupid? Get the fuck out of my way.
Dave folds out of the way, stunned and compliant. Jade gapes at her stunned boyfriend and the empty space in the doorway left by her other boyfriend.
Dave, what the fuck did you say to him downstairs?
Nothing? To be honest, I think he's been holding all that in for a while. Carcat leaves a stunned silence in his wake, Jane fuming silently to herself, Kanaya and Rose exchanging a knowing look about world politics, John chewing his lip and mulling about how Carcat's probably right, and how if he were braver he would have backed him up. This unpleasant spell of poorly attuned togetherness is interrupted by Jake looking all toothsome and fatherly with Tavros asleep in his arms, and a placated Vriska riding his broad shoulders. By Jove, chaps, what was all that commotion? It was nothing, Jake. Go back to the playroom. No, wait, Jake. We're having another funeral. We don't got much time, so I'm appointing you officially third in charge of the planning committee, after me and Callie, obviously. Oh my god, Roxy, are you really serious about this funeral idea? Yeah, why wouldn't I be? Christ. I'm all for, honoring the memory of this departed version of Teen Jade we barely know, but, you're so pregnant. Yeah, I'm pregnant as shit, but I don't see anyone else stepping up to the plate. Roxy, I appreciate the sentiment, but are you really sure it's appropriate? Yup, it's even more appropriate now. After all the bullshit that's happened, we need a good bash for the team's sake of unity. Sake of team unity. We need a good bash for the sake of team unity. I admit to still being ignorant regarding many aspects of human culture, but a funeral is not what I would call a bash. Oh, well, that's because you've got no imagination, Kanaya. We'll make sure it's lit as fuck, right, Jake? Golly, I sure do love myself a good soiree, no matter the circumstance. I'd be chuffed to the nines to be your third man on this one, Rox. Then it's official. This time next week, we'll corpse party like it's the end of the world. Again. Jane pushes up her spectacles so she can pinch the bridge of her nose. How is it that no matter how hard I try to keep the foolishness in my life confined exclusively to my romantic partners, I invariably find myself surrounded by clowns regardless? Hawk. Okay, I did 10 chapters. God damn. There's a lot more in that than I expected there to be. Two hours and 20 minutes. Shit. Well, I'll be back. Thanks for watching.